But here comes Gregor Hutu into Canada corner for the final time. Just 2 corners left to go before he finally makes himself a triumphant return back to victory lane. He has led 38 laps of this event here today, and Gregor Hutu once again is a winner. Gregor Hutu will work himself through the Cobra Parabolica. He will claim his 46th victory in iRacing.com World Championship competition. Gregor Hutu, for the 2nd race in a row, reigns supreme.
The one thing that I think is the most important is we've been racing this Ground Championship Series for quite some time now, a very long time even at that, and he is the only driver to have ever won a professional road race at Watkins Glen.
But there is nothing that could crack that finish #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu worked himself out the final corner, and just as he did in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, in 2015, Hutu once again wins at Watkins Glen.
Hutu will come across the line and takes the win for round 7 here at Virginia International Raceway.
Here he comes now, just 3 corners left to go, into Brooklands for the final time, into Luffield for the final time. Never, ever say that Gregor Hutu is beaten, because he just comes back bigger. He comes back stronger. He wins round #9 of the World Championship Series, 49th win of his career. If you're the world's greatest sim racing driver, you can do it with your statements on the road courses. Do it when it matters. Out of the final corner for the final time, number 50 for Gregor Hutu, out of the final corner. At the top of the broadcast, we said if Hutu could win here today, he could well cement himself as the championship favourite. Gregor Hutu, the #1 machine, back to victory lane, win number 51. Hutu is inching closer rapidly to his 5th, and yes, I say that correctly, his 5th World Championship. Out of the bus stop chicane comes the #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu will win here at Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Yes, you may be behind a computer with a steering wheel and a set of pedals, but for these drivers, this is as close as they may ever get to racing in real life. It will be Gregor Hutu coming past the line. He is a 5-time world champion. Gregor Hutu wins the championship one more time. He is the greatest driver in the history of open wheel racing here at iRacing.com, and dare I say it, he is the greatest open wheel champion in the history of sim racing.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun.
We are counting down the minutes here in the inaugural full-length iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. It's a racetrack that fans love. It's a racetrack that drivers love, but it's a racetrack that bites hard, and it is bitten hard already here today. You just look at the prototype division and you'll know exactly what I mean. Paul Ilbrink, for example, Radicals Online. Those guys were odds-on favourites to win today. They had an incident, they fell all the way down the field, and now they are 6 laps behind your race leader. Vortex Sim Racing, same things happen to them. They have had themselves an incident, they have put themselves out of contention. Their incident was much, much more dangerous. They went off the racetrack, and rather than slowing down and finding a way to beat in, Dennis Carisse bars his way back onto the racetrack, collects another car, game over. I said 7 hours ago, he needs to be patient here, and drivers have done that. Drivers like Denny Kane in the 902 car, that team who are leading the way overall. They've been patient, they've worked, they've pushed hard, in some cases almost too hard, but overall they've been patient. Jacob Lehman in second, the same in your LMP division. In GT world, of course, Coanda Sim Sports are doing what they do best. They just take every corner, every apex, one thing at a time, build it all together, you get yourself a winning program. Coanda are dominant once again. Attrition's been high. There's still many more twists, still many more turns here as we welcome you back to this special presentation of RaceBot TV on iRacing Live and on YouTube Gaming. Will Vincent along with Rachel Whitefoot here for the final couple of hours. Rachel, are you ready?
Ready as ever, Will.
Don't forget, you can tweet us. Use the hashtag iRacingLamar all race long. Get in contact with us. Ask us any questions. 2 hours, 53 minutes of this event to go. Ticker going to run along the top of your screen. But you'll see, left-hand side of your screen, top 8 drivers in prototypes, top 10 drivers in the world of GTs. Interesting reading there, Rachel.
It is indeed, Will.
So, what about motorsports? They are leading by 3 laps from onlinesimracing.de. Then FRT Hawkers Endurance, then Radicals Online, then Speed Design and Red. They're your top 5 in your prototype division. Coanda Sim Sport from Red Devolution Racing from 49 Motorsports A, Phoenix Moonshine and Elixir Racing Team. They are your top 5 in your GT division. Still got yourself 3 drivers on the lead lap though, Rachel. Banning for P3, P4, P5 in the world of GT racing.
Yeah, the GT racing field is probably the most exciting we have right now. Coanda, of course, dominant, 2 laps ahead of Red Devolution Racing, but they are within striking distance, realistically, of 49 Motorsports and Phoenix Moonshine. They're a lap ahead technically, but that's in grasp, really, depending on what happens. But that's the real battle there, the final podium position, 49 or Phoenix. As things stand, Phoenix, 49 are being caught now. They're in turn 1. Phoenix, they're just coming out in the final corner. So they are on the same lap, within striking distance, I'd say 7-8 seconds apart. So it's getting pretty close there. Whereas behind them, not much going on until you get down to about P number 6 and 7. Got Grip TV Nation, 49 Motorsports B, and also the gathering of Tweakers who are roughly on the same lap. So pretty exciting back there in GT. Just more battles than we actually have in the prototype division, where you have, apart from Online Sim Racing and FRT Hawkers, not much going on. Those 2 cars are hugely separated. One coming out in the final corner now, one just heading out to the double apex right.
Having a look, actually, you got yourself the closest battle in LMP is Jacob Lehman, P2 online simracing.de space LMP2. Still got himself a 20-second advantage over the FRT Hawkers Endurance car. They battle for P2, P3 in class. As Rachel, well, we've got Paul Ilbrink back on towards pit road. We believe this is a scheduled stop.
Yeah, we really do. Paul Ilbrink coming back on pit road. We think nothing should be wrong with that car at all. But it will be a preventative measure for him just to make sure they've got the fuel they need. It's earlier than I think they should be on pit road, but they're in a good window.
They can just about make it. Out and away he comes in. You can see the gold safety car there as well, Rachel. iRacing doing its bit to support efforts of some amazing organisations here on iRacing.
Yeah, they do, and I'm really glad that iRacing's decided to use that pace car, which, especially us in the oval community, see oh so often as a platform to actually raise awareness for things.
Yep, so you can just have a look there. You can see the Radicals online car of Paul Ilbrink coming back out onto the track. Down towards turn 6, they come then. Paul Ilbrink, well, he has been all over the place here today. Of course, he ran also earlier in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series event. Bear that one in mind. Let's have a look though. This is your battle that is still going on between Dexter Castro and Joel Tremblay. That is 11 seconds right now. We're going to ride ourselves along board then for a lap with 49 Motorsports A, Dexter Castro. Rachel, it looks as though the two gaps there, they are remaining static. Last time by 121.5 for Dexter Castro, 121.9 for Tremblay in the Phoenix Moonshine Club. But it seems to be one lap, one will be faster, the next it will be the other. And that's the thing of endurance racing. It is an hour by hour long battle of tete-a-tete.
It really is, and those cars are having a great fight at the moment, so enjoying watching that one. Looking back at them, Castro is... believe... Oh no, that's completely wrong. Looking at the live timing, which of course you can find at timing.racespot.tv or racespot.tv/live timing.
/timing.
Yeah, /timing. Looking on the positioning right now, gap between 49 and Phoenix is, I believe, 13 seconds. Which is not an insurmountable number. That's a completely practicable number. For only 1 minute 6 behind Red Revolution, which is also completely something to go wrong. So that's not a clear margin yet.
That's not even enough to cover a speeding penalty on pit road. So that gap is still one for the taking. So long as they are both on the same strategy at this stage, I would suspect that they are, and even if one comes on towards pit road 5 laps earlier, it won't make that much of a difference. This one will likely be settled on the racetrack. And let's have a look. Paul Ilbrink versus Darren Mentz right now. 2.3 seconds separating these two drivers. Ilbrink's moved himself up into the 4th place on track rate.
Yes, he has. Paul Ilbrink managed to get up to P4 now, which... again, probably not a recovery the Radicals thought they would manage at the start of this race. Yeah, they continued racing, but they're back down to only 6 laps down, which is awesome, running this alternate strategy. And they've managed to put themselves in a position to actually gain and recover and race hard. So, really enjoying seeing this. Blistering pace we know the Radicals have to come out to show them that even laps down, they can unlap themselves and get themselves into a position to gain spots. And E4 right now is major championship points for them in the Road Warrior Endurance Series.
Yep, there's a look then at your positions in each of the classes. Your top 8 drivers, although 73 Motorsports, they are listed as P number 9 overall, but they are 8th in class because you've got Jorn Jens, who is classified in P number 8 overall in this event. He, of course, is 8th around. The Simmer Sports driver, 31 laps behind your race leader right now. And you can see the gaps are starting to open up here between drivers. We have got ourselves 2 hours and 45 minutes of this event to go. Not a lot of action is happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. So what we're going to do, we're going to show you some sights and sounds of Road Atlanta for the next few minutes. enjoy this one with us as we take you on board various camera angles and show you various different views of this magnificent Road Atlanta racetrack. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got any questions for us, ask us. Use the hashtag iRacingLamar. Follow us at RaceBot TV. Just showing you some of the sights and sounds here over the next couple of minutes here on RaceBot TV as we are just getting ourselves into the last, what's this, 150 minutes or so worth of racing. Trying to do maths here, 160 minutes it'll be in just a moment or so's time. Got a couple of people on pit road. Petit Smith is out of the event as it stands in his 7.3 motorsports car. Just having a look, see what's happened to him. That car looks as though it is going to be towed. 7.3 motorsports well down the field right about now. You've also got Tamas Madka in the Mana MP motorsports car, looking as though he is going to likely be classified as out of the event. Earlier on, we saw Nick Thiessen on pit road. We're running on board now with the Gathering of Tweakers number 3 machine. Well, Rachel, we were talking earlier with Johnny about the validity of esports, and I made the point that esports and e-racing are two very different things. And I think that's part of the thing. I alluded some some points about licensing, all these sorts of things that esports don't have to deal with. You look at Dota, you look at League of Legends, they don't have to worry about licensing their content from third parties because they own their content. They own everything inside that. That's not the case on iRacing. In fact, on any racing game stroke simulator worth its salt. Do you think that is the big issue, stopping e-racing from, exploding into the scene?
I do, yes. Unfortunately, you're dealing with products at the end of the day, and in racing or in anything you like buying, for example, you're also dealing with products. Somebody's property, someone's invented this, somebody has created this, it is their intellectual property. When you create a fantasy game, of course, you are creating that content. Look at Counter-Strike. And they haven't licensed models in Counter-Strike, but I don't think anyone cares. It's a game. And fortunately, racing games are taken a lot more seriously, I think, by the developers. It's more that developers want to... using the likeness is a problem. Not sure why. Because a lot of other games seem to get away with using the likenesses of different things. No one minds. The automotive industry is particularly vicious when it comes to this, especially racing bodies and racing teams. So the flight world, one of my jobs I do is I'm a developer for flight sim companies, and I often find we work with certain developers and we'll sometimes work with the manufacturer do a specific recreation, usually for them or for some purpose. A lot of the times you'll find there are replicas of these aircraft, for example, which are not licensed unless it's Texatron Corporation, which owns Cessna and Beechcraft. No one cares. It's just a thing. But it does seem that this is one of the biggest restrictions we have in racing, is that we have content like tracks and content like cars. Everything has to be licensed. It slows the flow of content, I think. But at the same time, content isn't a problem. We like to think it is. We like to talk about it as though it's a bottleneck. Look at iRacing.com. We have all 3 Cup cars for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, all 3 Xfinity cars, both trucks, late models, super late models, sprint cars, silver crowns. We have the IndyCar. We have Formula 1. We have GT3 cars. We have Barbers, Star Mazdas. We have so many, and we have this many cars. We need them properly, and there is no real problem with that. We have exactly what we need. It's more the attitude, I'd say, of sim racers themselves that's the main contributing factor in this becoming a big esport.
I agree. I'm just having a look, by the way. We've had ourselves the FRT Hawkers Endurance Team on pit road. They made themselves stop. They're back out. And once again, and someone made a point about another sim. And this was the fact that they have their own content. Or it is their own content. They design their content from scratch. Yes, I agree. But if you look at racing platforms, now, on one hand, for example, there is one racing game, which they basically, in order to get the licenses, they weren't allowed to have any damage for years. Another one decided that they were able to get around of it, but actually, a lot of the companies, they don't like their cars being driven into walls and smashed to pieces, because they claim in one case it would look too ugly. But also at the same time, Rachel, you need some form of, in my opinion, licensed content, especially in sim racing, to get that validity of the product and marketing. Now, the one that people on YouTube have alluded to, they were able to get their own niche. But the thing is, they weren't viewed by hundreds of thousands of people on YouTube watching races the same way you would have something like Dota, something like Counter-Strike. So it's that different argument. This is what we're talking about here. Sim racing, big time for me, would be you'd have 100,000 people watching a race. I think the largest race I've ever been a part of has had 30,000. And there's not many sim races, not many games, almost, racing games. We need to get that many people watching simultaneously. Not even the most watched racing game gets 100,000 views on YouTube.
Well, put that to one side for a second, Will, and think about actual motorsports itself. Look at the number of people who go to Silverstone for the British Formula 1 Grand Prix. You're talking 100,000 people, 200,000 people. Look at the people who watch it on television. Well, let's say in the UK, 5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Go and look at the number of people who watch Dota or League of Legends. you're talking in the multitudes of millions.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of thousands that go to the stadiums to watch it.
Yeah.
This is, sim racing is a far, far cry away. And I hate to say it, and it's something that simmers never seem to understand. And as a developer, like I said, I do flight sim development work. Simmers don't get sexy. They don't understand sexy. And in games, sexy sells. And I'm not talking about scantily clad figures. I'm not talking about nudity. I'm talking about pizzazz, excitement. I'm talking about that little je ne sais quoi that sells the product, that sells the appeal, the excitement, and it's drama. It's action. You need to have something sexy to attract people to it. And, it's a really accurate racing simulation of Le Mans 24 hours. Yeah, that'll appeal to sim racers. But it's not going to appeal to Joe Public, who goes on YouTube and thinks, what do I fancy watching?
Yeah.
Do I want to sit there and watch little pretend race cars being driven around for 24 hours? Or do I want to watch a small gnome beating up a troll with a hammer 4 times his size? I'm serious. That sells more. And as someone just said in YouTube, grid girls, no, that's not what I meant by sexy. As I said, it's to do with, you've got to have that selling point, that drama, and you can get it, but I don't think any developer of a simulator is quite ready to give it that yet, and I don't think it's something that the developer themselves can perhaps do.
I tell you one thing, the sexy thing of it, it's money. Money sells. And, I am going to allude to the DraftKings and FanDuel conversation that's been going on. The reason why people pay attention to DraftKings is because they mention how many millions they've given away, or they are going to give away. They make it, big enough for people to sit up and take notice. You talk about the fact that, for example, back in certain forms of racing, they have like 5 million if someone would win the Triple Crown. That is something that will make people sit up and take notice. The online games, you have two things. You have the entertainment factor, you have people watching it, for the commentary, and if people think I shout as a commentator, go and watch one of their broadcasts, because I tell you what.
Oh god, yeah. You're mild compared to a lot of esports commentators, Will.
Yeah.
And, I've watched several, I often watch a lot of the Counter-Strike esports broadcasts. I'm an avid player, and since I got into sim broadcasting, I've started watching a lot of their broadcasts to see what they do. And it's no different to what we do. They can be just as animated as we are, towards the end of a race. But at the same time, we are a niche. And lots of people love MLG gaming. It's Counter-Strike, it's exciting. It's got the drama to it. I can't say a lot of the words associated with that because we're professionals here at RaceBot TV, and I'm not going to say those things on live air. But, look at NASCAR in America. It has massive appeal because you can see everything going on. There's drama, there's lots of racing all the time. And the same thing applies to sim racing. You'll often find a Peak Antifreeze series broadcast gets more viewers than an endurance race. Yeah. Simply because there is more going on.
But at the same time...
And the problems real racing has exactly the same problems for viewership that sim racing will always have.
Yeah. And of course, NASCAR viewership at the moment, you're looking at, and I say this in inverted brackets, only 3 million people. You compare that to, a Monday Night Football game when they're getting 11, 12, 13 million viewers. Racing, this is the interesting thing, Rachel. And I'm going to talk from a guy's perspective. Most guys, they grow up either liking cars or being told to like cars. Most guys like cars. But I don't think as many people like racing as I used to do. Something happened in the last 15 years that made people stop watching racing. I don't know what it is.
It's racing that changed.
Yeah.
Perhaps the danger has gone, and let's be fair, danger has sex appeal. We keep going back to that sex appeal factor that we keep talking about, and danger's sexy. Risk is sexy. It is, and there is absolutely no danger in sim racing.
Yeah.
None at all.
Well, no. I mean, we try, for example, for those of you who are new to iRacing.
Actually, no, Will, I tell you a lie. I got a blister on my finger once from my wheel.
I will say one thing as well. I do know that I know one person who actually had a heart attack once from racing. That wasn't the fact he was racing.
Was it in a C-fixed race?
Heart attack? No, it wasn't. And I tell you what, it was at Pocono though, so it might not be many far away. But the serious point is, you're right. There is no, yes, there's no reset button on racing, but if your car crashes, it's not as if your steering wheel's going to stop working. It's not as if your equipment's going to suddenly fry. You literally get a bit angry, shout at someone, stand up, go and get yourself a drink, sit down, and you're racing again within an hour if you want to. There is that whole thing as well. And it's an interesting concept, actually. What it is that make people watch something, be it online or on television. It's a very interesting point. To give you an update on the racing, by the way, everyone's very spread out, which is why we're not focusing on the racing at the moment. The closest battle we have is between Dexter Castro, 49 Motorsports A, and Phoenix Moonshine with Antti Bajala. Surprise, surprise, these two drivers still separated by less than 20 seconds. So we're going to keep it with these two drivers for the time being, but it's interesting points going on here. And there's some very interesting comments on our YouTube chat as well to this one. I think money's the big one. I think that one day you will get someone basically, I don't know whether it be iRacing, whether it be any of the other sim racing companies. One of them will just say, okay, let's do a championship for $1 million. Now, the day that someone gives $1 million out for a prize fund, people will watch it.
Yeah, they will. And I think, again, if some people throw money at sim racing now, it's not that big. I mean, iRacing offers probably the biggest purse in all of sim racing with the $10,000 prize funds for the 2 World Championship Series. But in esports, that is small potatoes. There are professional esports players, Call of Duty players, Counter-Strike players, Dota players that make millions.
Yeah.
That's these people's careers. Their job is to play Dota.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know.
Can't I have that job?
There is an iRacer whose son actually plays Dota full time. And he basically gets paid so much money. And actually, you look at from the Twitch streamers, they can basically earn a living just by playing speedruns, for example. One final point on this subject, because I've been trying to get iRacing to go to Autosport for the last few years. I try every year unsuccessfully. And the reason why is because, to lug all the equipment from America to bring it all the way to the UK seems like a stretch. But you go to any motorsports or racing or car convention, there is always one set of stands that has more people at them than any other. And that is always when there's a computer game or sim racing thing involved.
Yep.
I was at Shepherd's Bush, Westfield the other day. The queue just to go and basically do 2 laps in an F1 game because you're in a simulator to win the chance of winning a suitcase. Literally, a suitcase. You always get the queues because people want to feel as if they are the next Lewis Hamilton. It's an interesting point, but how do you keep them enthralled to watch it is the $1 million question. Ironically, though, we probably just answered it. The $1 million question is, who's got the $1 million to put up in the first place? And of course, then, I think until you get the big money for the sponsorship, you get the big money behind the series, you're not going to get the level of sponsorship that you get. I mean, iRacing teams have got some pretty big sponsorship deals. You look, for example, looking at a Steel Series for Radicals Online. And then you've got yourselves the idea of Fanatec sponsoring a couple of teams. They sponsor Team Redline. They sponsor Friction Racing. Then you've got, for example, Ferrasa sponsoring teams. But Fanatec and Steel Series are really the only two.
What's the commonality there, Will?
They're gaming stuff.
Specifically. Think of all the main sponsors we see in sim racing pro team cars. GT Omega.
Yep.
Steel Series. Fanatec. They're all sim racing hardware manufacturers.
Yes.
Because
Fanatec
the market,
more.
the people who watch sim racing right now,
Yeah.
are sim racers.
Yeah.
They are
surprisingly enough.
marketing to their market.
Yeah.
You know, you put the money in there, you make other people interested, which opens up the market, and that is the magic button. Because once somebody has squirted that first injection of cash into sim racing, then suddenly other people watch, and when other people watch, those other markets are opened up, and the money comes in. Yes, big money brings in big cheats, as someone's just said. But at the same time, big money can also afford to have big referees, big live stewards, and methods of stopping people hacking. It's sim racing, it's pretty easy to tell when someone's cheating.
Yes. Especially when you've got a closed system that iRacing is in comparison to certain others.
Compared to other racing sims,
Yeah.
iRacing is... I mean, yes, they've recently released an anti-cheat system. That was more to... as a system for protection with the new weather system and the dynamic track thing. It was more of a preventative measure, it wasn't a reaction.
Yes.
Compared to other sims and racing games, which you can cheat very easily in, it's really hard to cheat without it being very obvious.
Yeah.
And people always accuse other people of cheating, because in gaming you're either a noob or a hacker. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
If you can beat them, they're a noob. They can beat you, there must be hacking.
Yep, indeed.
You know? So it's a fine line to balance, but in sim racing terms, people would watch it because you can have more risky races, you can have more dangerous moves, because people aren't having to buy a new car when they wreck, and they're also not having to risk their life. So you can have more dramatic crashes, more exciting races, cars flipping through the sky. People watch racing, I'm going to say it bluntly, people watch racing a lot of the time for the crashes.
Yep.
They can have them back tenfold. It's driven a lot of people away from real motorsports, let's be honest. That's why its popularity has waned. It's become too safe. People aren't interested. We have sim racing. Suddenly they can have exploding fireballs once again, and everyone's own personal morbid fascination will be sated.
I think that you make a very useful point, and this is the reason why Daytona Talladega will always get some of the highest ratings in NASCAR, because everyone sits down to watch for the big one. People want to see people crashing. It's human. For some reason, metal hitting a wall seems to be human nature. People enjoy watching it. But interestingly to note, by the way, as far as the racing goes, we have got ourselves a battle. It is,
wow, where?
Yeah, it is Francisco Gonzalez right now. He is in the FRT Hawkers Endurance Team car, 1.8 seconds back from the rear of the online-simracing.de-LMP2 car, although the latter has recently been on pit road. In fact, they've both been on pit road. I think they are on the same strategy at the moment, Rachel.
They are, so they've actually caught them up now. We did say they were about a minute back. Judging by the timing, now we can find out. Looking right now for those teams on our live standings page. Don't forget that's racebot.tv/live timing.
Yep. And
you can look up at those guys. That is, we're looking for onlinesimracing.de. They are 3 laps down, as are FRT Hawkers. And the interval is 1.6 seconds. So that's pretty darn close.
Indeed. We do apologise for some reason. We just had a moment of black darkness. We do think we're okay. We think we're okay. Yep, we are okay. Good. There we are then. We had ourselves one of those scary moments. We think we're all doomed, Mr. Mannering. We're all doomed. But the gap is down to 0.7 of a second now. Let's enjoy a little bit of this. In fact, this is gonna. Gonzalez had the opportunity to get himself right into the toe. He messed up through turn number 6, Rachel, because he could have got himself good momentum off the corner, back into that car, just slid out a tiny bit.
It did indeed, and we've thankfully got our pictures back and working now. But the FRT Hawkers team, we've not talked about them very much all race. They have certainly managed to keep that car in one piece. Now they're going after the online simracing.de car. Both teams been pretty mild. They've gone largely under our radar, but they're in second and third position in the prototype class, which is an incredible achievement to have lasted this long, as we're approaching the 8-hour mark of this race. So 2 hours to go. It's soon time to start kicking off. But the Hawkers, guys, they're reeling them in now, and they are definitely on the same strategy. They've both pitted recently, so this will be a pass 4 position. But they've both pitted, I believe, within the last 12 laps. So actually, they went in a little earlier. They cut that stint shorter than online sim racing, which is why they've caught them.
Yeah, and we're actually having a look. This is the 14th lap of the stint for FRT, 3rd lap of the stint for online sim racing. Gap is still 1 second right now, running us on board with Francisco Gonzalez. 2 hours, 19 minutes to go. At what point, to use the terminology from actual Le Mans this year, Rachel, does it become a sprint race?
I'd say within the last hour here, of course. Le Mans 2 hours, but this is a 10-hour race, so I'd say within the last hour, that's when it really kicks off.
So not 6 hours, just checking.
No. Well, for some teams, possibly.
Okay, not to worry, just checking. So they can see there. You've got yourself Gonzalez back up behind. I actually want to have a look on board again. It seems to be that Sector 1, Gonzalez is better. Sector 3, it is when Weed is better. And that, of course, will... Oh, trouble! Turn around! That was Weed under pressure. That wasn't Weed, actually. That was another driver under pressure. That was Eduardo Tamidi in the TMA endurance car watching on board. I thought that was P2 there, Rachel. That was almost catastrophic.
It very much was. That was a very scary moment for them, but thankfully managed to recover that one. Could have been much bigger than it was.
Yeah, let's get ourselves a replay then. Let's slow it down, figure out what happened. There we can see down into the S's. Back end is going to kick out. Yeah, just a little bit too early on the noisy pedal. Back end kicks out. The good thing is the car spun away from the racing line. That car very easy. If you tried to counter steer it, if you're Tamedi, that would have come right back across the racetrack. And then that would have been Gonzalez out of the event. We'll get ourselves one more look at that one on board then with the driver of Eduardo Tamedi. Nice to have a little bit of excitement once in a while. So the TMA endurance car, let's have a look on board of him then. This is down in towards turn number 1. And you can see nicely goes. In towards turn number 1 here. Doesn't look as though he's fighting the car that much. Into 2. How much curb? Hits the bump. Yeah, just on the power a little bit too early. Back end steps out. Does avoid the wall though, Rachel.
Yeah, he does, but we've seen this all day, Will, especially in the last, well, I say all day, we've seen it in the last about 3 or 4 hours, is that he's gone around again, actually, the TMA Endurance car, he's gone around just before turn 5, he's rejoined the track safely and spun a second time. Oh god, nearly collected the Autobahn Motorsports leader of your race there, which is very, that could have been disastrous for those guys. As I was saying, in the last 3 or 4 hours, the HPDs have become very rear grip limited. The back end of these cars never has been the most planted. Whilst the bodywork in the wing does provide some downforce, front end of the car gets a lot more. And this car's always seemed to have been looser at the back than it has been at the front, more prone for the back to step out. So, with the track conditions as they are, it's gotten quite loose for the back of these cars. Finding them in the high downforce situations, the back is not sticking and it's starting to step. We've had it with about 4 or 5 separate prototypes.
Well, let's have... Wait, 1 minute. Something like that. Team Bushfink Racing, open bracket 1, closed bracket. Johan Halberg behind the wheel of that number 74 machine, back out into the racetrack. A very long pit stop. We just saw also Radicals Online making themselves another pit stop. They can see Mega Martin, 47.3 second pit stop. Pit stop window is open once again. Let's see how long is it going to be before we see most of the people in our field due in. Well, it's 32 laps since Speed Sign and Red came on towards pit road. Autobahn have recently pitted and then almost got taken out, Rachel.
Yep, and just been informed by one of the drivers from the Team Autobahn Motorsports that their driver, Danny Kane, nearly required a change of fire suit at that moment he came across the TMA endurance car.
I think I know exactly what he means.
Yeah, me too.
There is Danny Kane in the 902 car. There's another thing I want to talk about when we finish this hour, and it's an interesting one, over whether or not sim racing or gaming makes people safer drivers. And it's an interesting concept here, because most people will laugh and it's like, well, if anyone drives the way that they do in racing, on the road, then they'll almost certainly die. But actually, there's certain things like being able to anticipate situations, which, you know, a lot of people who do sim racing, especially at high level, their reaction time should speed up. We'll talk about that one at the end of, well, once we get past the next hour. We're going to step aside for just one moment, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to bring you back with RaceBot TV side by side. I'll be right back.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car, endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number one. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see they're funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage with Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warriors Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real-world racers, and they compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wilson, Scott Speed, Ron Capps, the list goes on. Really some big-name drivers from all major forms of motorsport. It's really neat to see them get together and race together.
See Laughlin up top, down to the ball, gets turned! Laughlin gets turned! Caution is out foul at the front of the field!
The easiest place to find the broadcast is on our website, iRacing.com/live. So you can find some of our races on fanschoice.tv as well. A nice place to find iRacing broadcasts. You can also find it at mrn.com and peakauto.com.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back to this, the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans here on Racebot TV and on iRacing Live. 2 hours, 9 minutes remaining. Autobahn Motorsports, Rachel, now have led 212 laps of today's event. Radicals Online, they've led 47 laps. Vortex in Racing, 114.
Pretty dominant performance by Autobahn Motorsports, Will. Those guys have been consistent, they've not made mistakes. They are currently in a position that's dominant. They're 2 laps clear of the field. And, well, mistake-free, touch wood. And my desk is wooden, I'm touching it. They should well win this race, and I think they deserve to. Of all the teams today, I think they've had the most potential. And at the early start, they were fast. They led laps when all the cars were on the track. So they are certainly not inheriting a victory here. They were fast enough to take it, and they've also kept their car in one piece enough to take it. Although Jake Beckett on YouTube has just said that for the next Road Warrior Endurance event, Coanda should be forced to use a push bike. But he still thinks they'll win.
Well, to be fair, there is no more officially scheduled endurance races this year, because the next race, of course, at Bathurst, we do it in the V8 supercars. But I think maybe we could try and add another class, maybe push bike. Of course, it means we need a new bike tyre model.
Well, unfortunately, Will, Bathurst takes place in Australia, not London, so I don't think they'll get a cycle lane.
True story. Although normally at Bathurst you can only go at 30 miles an hour anyway, so if you're a fast cyclist, you might just about be able to keep up. Martin Cronkey, by the way, is leading by 3 laps now over Red Evolution Racing. The number 118 car, Martin Cronkey. Well, Cronkey's on double duty as well, Rachel. He, of course, earlier on today came second in the final round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series for 2015, which his teammate won.
He did indeed. That's Mitchell de Jong, the Red Bull Global Rallycross driver, who is certainly or junior Rallycross driver, who is a rising star in going sideways on all things dirt and asphalt. As someone who's actually taken part in some Rallycross racing in Dirt Rally, which, if anybody's interested in Rallycross or Rally, I highly suggest you look at, because it's awesome. Honestly, it's hard. And I've seen some of his races. The guy is a ninja. Yeah, those cars do the strangest things, and he has amazing talent, and to see it translate also onto the virtual racetrack is incredible. You see a lot of real-world racers come in and they can't quite adjust to things, or there's something not quite right, or they're a seat-of-the-pants driver and that feeling's gone. They're helpless. But Mitchell and a few others, namely Shane van Gisbergen, who's also a avid iRacer, the V8 Supercar star, of course, from New Zealand. Both of them amazingly talented sim racers at the top of their game, and in a multitude of cars. I mean, I raced with Shane in the Indy 500 this year, and he was doing very well in that as well. It was incredible. He amazing talent in the V8s, and those cars are phenomenal. We have a car off the track they're ahead of. That was Autobahn Motorsports on the racetrack. Trying to find out who that was.
We've just actually
taken a shortcut. That was that's the number 2 car I'm looking at that was off the track on the final corner. The number 2 GT car, which was Red Evolution Racing. So issue for the second place GT car to try and find out what happened to them. They actually spun in the final corner, so major time loss for them. They come around the final corner. I think maybe a late commitment to pit road and round, like a record round. That was not how you pit in.
About Shane van Gisbergen, did his engine stall in the Indy 500?
No, but I was kind of hoping for it. He did start ahead of me.
Yeah, and they can see the Red Devolution Racing car. Backwards, not really what you want to do. Going down the final corner. A lot of time lost there, as you can see. He had to go and do another lap. And let's see, is he coming onto pit road this time by? We expect he might have some soiled underwear as well. He's actually working himself up the crest at the moment towards the chicane, so he should be on pit road. He is coming on pit road in about 20 seconds time out of the final chicane. 2 hours 4 minutes remaining. At the final corner, nope, going to stay out on track.
Interesting decision. Those tyres must be more baked than the pizza we both had earlier tonight. Remember, if you own a pizza company and you wish to sponsor RaceSpot TV, more than welcome. We would highly appreciate pizza when we do these broadcasts. It's our go-to food of choice, and you would get a lot of airtime. That's a shameless plug for RaceSpot TV, but there you go. Like I say, people starting to make mistakes. This will happen once you get into this sort of length of race, and we're reaching that point now where people are tired, people are doing their third stint, fourth stint, and there are now officially 2 hours remaining. So 2 hours and 3 minutes remaining, whatever. 2 hours remaining, and it's great. You know, this has been an amazing race. We've had drama, excitement. Who we thought would win and be dominant hasn't. We've seen some major mistakes from top teams, and I hate to say it, but I enjoy seeing that. I enjoy seeing the underdogs come through, and the underdogs do well, and you're starting to see really who can cope with these things. Considering also this is the first major endurance event we've had on the new surface model in iRacing, I think it's been a resounding success, and I think the surface model in general for iRacing has been a major success. It's an awesome addition, and it's the first time oh, he's gone around again. Red Devolution Racing have lost it on the front stretch, and they're in the wall hard on the inside.
Yeah, oh, that car's toast. That car is actually toast. You can see no front end of that car. Well, yeah, they've got a long way to go to get to pit road. That car is crab walking. That car's going to pull off the side of the racetrack. We'll get ourselves a replay then. Show you what happened to him. Let's start this replay looking from the exit of 7. Working himself out the back straight away. So there you can see, working himself now down towards the end of the lap. And, well, it seems to be that these tyres is getting a little bit too warm there, losing the grip. And, well, we know that that car's been sliding around. If you do it too often, you just completely lose. Because, again, what you're doing is you're just
Suspension damage is massive there, Will, on that Baron. They are definitely destroyed.
Yep. As we saw that, and we're going to get ourselves another look then on board this time. Final corner. Oh, that was a white line. Car spinning around, and just couldn't save it afterwards. Car spun, and then he just didn't save the car as it kind of...
To be fair, the McLaren is one of the nastiest cars to try and recover. The BMW has got quite a good centre of balance, and you can counter steer and you can hold it. You can even do the old 2-foot magic hack, which does work in a real car, for the record. So, yeah. Those people that say that's not realistic, you're wrong. But, no, the McLaren has a weird centre of balance with it being a mid-engine car. It just doesn't seem to respond properly. It gets very light, and it has a real tendency to flip the back end round. But the Nicki Minaj of race cars, big fat rear end, and not entirely sure at all times which direction it's pointing.
That just sums up Nicki Minaj anyway.
Yeah, actually, it does.
Yeah, other failed pop star things are
Fortunately,
available.
she's not failed.
Yeah, true story. Other things are available, as you can see there. Svendemol is now on pit road. A very long pit stop awaits him. That moves Phoenix Moonshine up into second place. Also means a gap now between Martin Kroenke and Dexter Castro is officially over 3 laps. So, big change then. in the last 2 hours now of our coverage here on RaceSpot TV. This is the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Well, 2 hours are remaining in this iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. So, if you've been with us for a while, hello, welcome. And we hope that you've enjoyed the race so far. Will Vincent, Rachel Whiteford bringing it home here this evening. Now, attrition has been high. I'm actually doing some math. 18 drivers, by my record, are actually circulating on the racetrack as we speak. We've got 21 drivers listed as on track. Peter Smith is on pit road. Eduardo Tomedi is on pit road, as is Sven Demel. 7 drivers in prototype are in the main batch. Then, of course, the remainders are your GT drivers. We haven't yet talked about who your winners are as far as your GT division goes. As it stands, the BMW, Rachel, looking as though they may get the bragging rights here today.
To be fair, I think it's been stated before, Commander Simsport, whatever car they chose, I think they'd be winning in. So I don't think it's specifically a BMW issue. But we have to say the BMW is looking like the prominent car here. Of course, leading in a BMW, second in a BMW, third's a McLaren. Fourth is a Roof. P5 was a McLaren. It's now a shoebox. P6 is a Roof, and there's a BMW behind them, so it's pretty mixed, to be fair. We've got a couple of BMWs, but like I say, I think whatever car Coanda chose to run in, even if it was an MX-5, I think they'd probably still be leading. Coanda are just that good a team in GT cars. But you know, one of the things that really excites me about the upcoming GT Pro Series, which of course the Blancpain Endurance Series is qualifying for this season, drivers in that Pro Series, teams in that Pro Series will be locked to a car. So when they're actually running in those, they will have their McLaren, their Ford, their Mercedes, their Audi. That will be the car they're running. You won't get to choose the car per track, and some teams and drivers and cars will be stronger at certain tracks and will be stronger at different other tracks. Different styles of tracks will simply suit different teams, which I think will be exciting. That'll be a really different change rather than everyone picking whatever car's best this week.
Yeah, and I like that because I'm an IndyCar fan, of course, with Chevy and Honda. You know, Hondas are better at certain racetracks. Chevys are better at others.
Yeah, Hondas are better at the racetracks that don't have corners.
Many corners, yes.
Yeah, the less corners, the more Honda.
Ironically, the Honda engine in an Indy car probably would work better than an F1 engine.
Well, yeah, it would, actually. It really would. Although I do actually prefer the Chevy Aero kit in Indy car this year.
Well, yeah, there's less little
controversial
bits. No.
Well, I'd say there's more bits, but the bits look better. Looks more like open wheel race car rather than a HPD has rear-ended a Skip Barber, which is the Honda.
Yes, I completely agree. I was actually watching Gogglebox yesterday, and I have a very disturbing image now in my head. So thank you very much. Ren Dimmel still on pit road, by the way. And there you can see the damage to that race car. Don't forget, if you've got questions, use the hashtag iRacingLeMans. Get them through to us. We will attempt to answer them. We were going to talk previously, Rachel, about whether or not sim racing makes people better drivers. My argument for this is, I'm not going to say that if you're a sim racing driver and you're any good, you're going to go out and drive the same way that you sim race. Because if you do that, chances are you're either going to be arrested or killed. But the reaction side of things, the ability to anticipate situations, especially some of your people in this field, you need to understand what's going on, you need to understand situational awareness better. These sort of things, I think, can actually make people better drivers.
Same thing I mentioned before, I developed for flight simulators. I'm a pilot in the real world, and I do a lot of sim flying. I'm going to use this as an analogy, because I think the same thing applies. Learning to fly an aeroplane in a simulator would not make you a competent pilot in the real world. You could probably know enough to not die in a fireball, but at the same time, it's not the same because you haven't got those real world feelings the G-forces, the bum-in-seat feeling. But if you already have a grounding in the real thing, like most people have passed their driving test, sim racing gives you those skills and enhances those skills in a way that training can. And for example, like you say, situational awareness. You are more aware of where the cars are, what they're doing, and in certain ways, you know, you can actually learn better car control from things in simulators, not just iRacing, but other ones, of course. You can actually learn to understand the behaviour of the car, the momentum. So if the car gets into an accident or an incident situation, a spin, and it's those automatic reactions, and that's what training is about. That's what simulator training is in all aspects. It's why Formula 1 drivers use simulators and other, you know, professional motorsports drivers. It's not because they want to learn the track or they want to learn to drive the car. It's because they... I'll go back to an old analogy of amateurs train until they get something right. Professionals train until they get something wrong.
I like that. I do like that. By the way, we are having a look at an actual battle going on your racetrack. This is...
Oh, we have a car off. 49 Motorsports B. Next to them is... well, we had one of the prototypes going off. I think that was the... I'm going to find out who that was. That was Speed Asylum Red. Bit of an off in turn 1, but they're still going, so that's okay.
Yep, as the other 49 Motorsports car, battling it out with Phoenix Moonshine and Superjada. Now that gap was 10 seconds, Rachel. It's now 1 second.
Very small now, so we're going to have a good chance for a pass here. Speed Asylum, of course, they were battling with Radicals, but they've lost a lap, so they're quite a distance back now from that number 1 machine.
Evan Merrill, what happened to RDR? Well, what happened is they had a bit of a coming together with the front stretch wall. We showed it. If you go back about 20 minutes on YouTube, you'll find it. But essentially what happened is they came out the final corner, got themselves a white line moment, had themselves a bit of a drift, couldn't catch it, said hello to the big concrete barrier on the inside, forcing them out of the event. And, well, the consequence of that means that, as you can see there, their car doesn't look that pretty right now. And you can see, the car pretty much is going to be done for the rest of the day. A lot of damage to that car. Unlikely to get it all fixed in one go. 149 team helping another 49 team, just moving out the way. As 49, actual number 49, 49 Motorsports A, still battling out with Pajala.
Yep, they are indeed, and well, these two cars have been together all race long. The 49 machine and the 27, we've been seeing those guys racing each other from the drop of the green flag, and they're still together. It's an incredible sight to see two cars that have been at this from the drop of the flag, and the positions just keep changing. I think these two are the most equal cars in this entire field. Right now, of course, Dexter and Antti have been in that car for hours. But they're dueling on and off, back and forth, and it's a great thing to see, you know? You do see a lot of cars are just faster, people are slow, but to have two cars completely balanced on speed, I think, and two very different cars, a McLaren and a BMW, I think that's really awesome to see.
I indeed agree with you. Sorry. Let's ride a lap on board with 49 Motorsports A, Dexter Castro, as he continues to try and close out Antti Pajada. 1 hour, 51 minutes remaining. He's not catching, but he's not losing much time, Rachel, is he?
They're pretty balanced at the moment. Looking at that, it's very equal. Like I said, the two cars, despite one being a McLaren and one being a BMW, with very different handling characteristics, as most of the drivers are aware, and most of the viewers. One being mid-engine, one being front-engined. Seeing them this close together and this balanced in speed is really exciting. I think this one will come down to the wire, and we're going to have a real battle on our hands. I think as soon as the next pit stop's complete, we're going to really see these two go for it.
So, 1 hour, 48 minutes is remaining in this event. We're going to run through your top 8 in each class in just 1 moment's time. We're not quite into sprint mode, but we are getting closer to that point. But the next pit stop is going to be important. Here's the reason why. If you want to make a mistake, you make it at the start of the event. You don't make it at the end, especially if you're involved in this battle for P2 in your GT class. These guys know a mistake now could be incredibly costly. Not just as these two people battle together for P2, but also, if they mess up, they could end up being outside of the podium, looking in. And they don't want to do that, Rachel. It's that, how hard do I push phase of the race?
Well, this is the setup, Will. This is where the cars are doing their final fast stints. They're still in that rhythm racing mode. They're trying to get those fast laps in, and they're just trying to keep the car in one piece until this final pit stop. That's when the reins come off. That is when they put the final driver in, and they get told to push like hell. Because this is where you make up the places. So they're going to be trying to get the car into a good time slot and a good pit window, that final stop. They'll come in, they'll do that, they'll go out, and then it'll be trying to make what you can. Some cars will be in a position where they can't gain anything, and they'll continue as they are. But the cars that are in that spot where they can, for example 49 Motorsports and Phoenix Moonshine, that's when you'll put the fast boys in. That's when they'll go out there with the plan to win.
Of course, Hence Pajada arguably is one of the better drivers for that Moonshine team. He has been there for quite a while though, Rachel.
Yeah, he has indeed, but the Moonshine team have a few other drivers in that stable. I'm suspecting, well, Anti's been in for a whole stint so far. Joel Tremblay's been in, Anti Pajalo's in before him. It is just those, well, we've got Patrick Bechlard, who could also go into the car. I suspect he's only done one stint. He either may not show up again, or he could be finishing this car. Whereas for the 49 Motorsports boys, they've had Dexter Castro in for a very long time. Ahmed Yamin as well. And, well, looking at this, I suspect it might be Ahmed Yamin coming in to finish this car.
Yeah, there you can see the 49 Motors. We've actually dropped off 2.7 seconds. They are behind now the Phoenix Moonshine car. Oh, we've had an interesting drive on pit road, so we'll come back to that in a moment. Online-simracing.de-LMP2 on pit road as we speak. Pit stop timer cracking along for him. I just want to have a look actually. No, that car is okay on pit road. It looked from a really weird angle for a second there. It looked as if the car is at 45 degrees, but it is okay on pit road. Doing himself a pit stop. Penultimate pit stop of the day for him. And let's have a look. 30 seconds, Rachel. Out of the way.
Not a bad pit stop then for those guys. So, looking forward to this, well, being penultimate, of course. I think they're going to be coming in for one more at least. So, that'll be the really fast run. So, but if they've not changed driver now, they're not going to in that final top.
Oh, okay. Just having a look actually to see. 29.6 seconds. What they're trying to do, they're short field this stop rate a little bit, so that they can come in and do a full stint at the end. That one might come down in some way due to the driver pressures that we talked about already.
Yeah, it could do indeed. And the driver pressures are building up now a huge amount. And you'll find a lot of these top teams, the drivers actually do train for things like this. They do certain cardiovascular exercise, muscular exercises, things just to keep their body from getting achy and numb over long times. Because as you can train for a real race car, the same reasoning and logic applies to sim racing, and in many extents, sure, you're not having to train your neck to withstand the G-forces, but having good, strong leg muscles and arm muscles to actually consistently push the pedal to turn the wheel, push the pedal, turn the wheel many, many hundreds of thousands of times over a race distance. You'd be surprised how much that actually requires, and how often after a long race, the average sim race will actually be aching after 3 hours. Whereas some of these guys, they're still going as if they were fresh after 6, 7, 8. So it's a factor that they actually have to take into consideration, and well, it's one we always see. I've talked about nutrition and things with endurance racing in the past, but I don't think we'll go into fluid intake during this one. But yeah, I just find it interesting, really, to look at those sides of this and how it really compares to the real world of racing and endurance racing. It does apply, and it is relevant, and it's quite cool to see that. But right now, of course, Course & Racing, they're currently sitting in P5 in the GT class, 41 laps down, 20 laps behind Kind of Sim Sport. Oh no, sorry, I believe 6 laps behind Kind of Sim Sport. Looking at the wrong driver. They're just in a great spot. They've come back from adversity themselves. Excelsior, one we've not really talked much about. Those guys, that's Jason Gerard in the car right now. That roof has been pretty flawless. They've put no feet wrong. They're in a good spot, and they're going to pick up a P4 for this. I think the real battle will be Phoenix and 49, second and third. They're both locked into a podium spot right now, but they all want second. Commander, no one can touch them, I think, unless they make a mistake themselves. Up in the prototype class, there was going to be a battle we had with Speed Asylum and Radicals, but they're now on separate laps, so I think the Radicals are pretty much locked in with a P4. Again, more than I think they expected to recover. Up in third, Online Sim Racing.de. They're 3 laps down. FTR Hawks, they're in second now. They've moved up due to an issue, I believe, with Online Sim Racing DE. Although it may just be a pit difference. Yep, they haven't pitted recently. Online Sim Racing.de were in last 2 laps ago. So yeah, those two will be on the same lap, I think, for the finish. They could be pretty close, so we could have a battle brewing for the podium as well in your prototype field.
Even though we've only got 18 drivers circulating on the racetrack, still potential for quite a bit of action here. Here's the important thing though, Rachel. We've lost half of our field here today. Is that a bad thing? Do we expect a higher attrition race, do you think?
I think we have to. It's not necessarily a factor of the race. Well, it's not a factor of the drivers for a start. These are some of the most talented sim racers we have. I think it's a product of the track. Road Atlanta is a tricky racetrack. It's got a very rhythm, momentum first sector, which is so easy to get wrong, and the racing line is so critical, especially with how slippery it is offline. Especially doing in multi-class traffic with a very twisty sector, always going to be problems. The third sector is also pretty technical and tricky. Middle's fast in a respect. It's a bit like Le Mans in that way. You've got some long straights. But I think the track itself, Road Atlanta, is difficult. It's complicated and it's very unforgiving. There's a lot of grass leading to very solid barriers. It's no car park of the Americas with lots of concrete runoff.
Right, let's have a look then. Top 8 in each class up on your screen right about now. 53 laps. You can see only 7 LMP drivers are even in the main part of your field. The final one, GTS Team Purple, they are the last remaining car in the field as it stands. No, actually, they just moved ahead of Sven Demmel. Sven, by the way, is back out into the field. We'll talk about that one in a moment's time. Interestingly enough, Phoenix Moonshine 49 Motorsports and Excelsior Racing Team on the same lap. And you've also got 49 Motorsports B, TV Nation. They are on the same lap as well. We'll talk about that one as well in a moment's time. There you can see the number 2 car has come back out, Rachel. Put a new front cover on it, but that car is a shell of what it used to be.
Absolutely, and that car, unfortunately, will not be in a good position here to gain much from this race. Red Devolution Racing and that McLaren, such a tragic end for their race. They were doing so well. Now they're having what looks to be a very poorly handling car. Hoping to just finish, and I think if they can do, that will be a major advantage.
Yeah, we're running on board actually. You can see this is what a damaged race car feels like to drive. An absolute pain. You can't turn the car. Getting on the gas is hard. Getting off the gas is hard. Rachel, this is what you don't like. And this is where people earn their salt, trying to nurse the car home.
Absolutely. We say it every race. It's not some sort of everyone deserves a medal strategy, but honestly, finishing one of these races is applaudable. This is 10 hours of motor racing. Just finishing it, and considering that, you know, the vast majority of people in these races are not real-world racing drivers, to complete 10 hours of something is a remarkable feat. Make it to the end when many don't is applaudable and should be rewarded. And, you know, I think it's a major achievement. And teams that will go out there with a damaged car and just get home, they will bring the car home. It's the equivalent of the Jamaican bobsled team getting up in that the bobsled run at the end of Cool Runnings when they've crashed, picking up their sled and carrying it across the finish line. Yes, I quoted Cool Runnings. No, I don't care.
I was going to say 100 minutes remaining of this event, and I do agree. Of course, there are rules in place that if your car is too damaged, you are not allowed to come back onto the track for the sole purpose of making up laps. As Antti Pajala is on pit road, we're riding it on board with Danny Kane there, your race leader. We're going to go back to him in a moment's time. There is Antti Pajala. He's going to stay in the car for at least one more stint. There you can see the Phoenix Moonshine car completing its service. There's another car heading itself on towards pit road. That is Liam Quinn in the number 44 machine. But let's let the pit stop timer continue. Let Rachel talk us through then this car coming back out onto the racetrack to start another stint with Antti Pajala behind the wheel of it.
It will be indeed Antti Pajala in the Phoenix Moonshine McLaren. That very minimalist design on that car, looking great actually. Heading back out now to pit road. They'll have taken 4 tyres there. We saw the jacks drop, so we know they've taken tyres on top of their fuel. No double stinting for Antti Pajala. So out he comes. Good clean air coming out right behind the Ferrari Commander Simsport BMW there. This should be a real example for people to watch now. If you see, he will close in and probably pass the Coanda BMW. That car is on fresher tyres, so it should have an advantage. Unless, of course, Coanda are just that dominant. But Coanda, I believe, spitted. Well, they're way into a stint right now. So, Coanda should be expected on pit road fairly soon. And we should see a definite charge by Antti Pajala there in that 27 machine. Just proving the difference we have here in tyres. Heading down the main straight now towards the chicane at the end of the lap. Big braking zone, especially for the McLarens. Into the kink we have, and then down towards the braking zone. Very long braking zone. Could see him close up a bit on the back of the Coanda BMW. He does. Pressure tyres let you stop a lot quicker. Up under the bridge and down to the final corner. Again, should be able to carry more speed through this corner than that BMW due to the very nature of more rubber on the tyres. But it does just seem that Coanda are that fast and that dominant. But now the tyres should be coming to temperature on the McLaren, and you should have a bigger advantage. Still waiting for 49 Motorsports, of course, to come onto pit road. They will be doing so in the next few laps, we believe. Dexter Castro has nearly reached the end of his stint, so we should be seeing him in anytime soon. But judging by the time window, we're not really expecting this to be his final stop. Same with the car of Antti Pajala, the 27. Expecting both to come in for a splash and dash, potentially a fuel-only stop. But it could be tyres if they think they can battle for the end of this one.
Tyres will be
have to find out what happens. Absolutely will.
Yeah, tyres will be interesting because, yes, you'll be slightly longer, but your lap times will be faster towards the end. I think it'll be a case of I think whoever's leading at the end of this stint will try not to take tyres, and then they'll try and play the defensive role. The one who is behind will be the one who will put on fresh tyres and literally go like crazy. I think that's the only way, because we've seen that Pajala, this battle's gone on for so long. Castro really hasn't been able to find a way past. He's found a way to close, and that's about it.
Yeah, he has, and there's an element of the traffic playing in there well that these guys just can't get close enough, because of when they do, usually a prototype car will come into the mix and it'll spread them out again. So that's something the GT drivers have to cope with. It's part of GT racing in a multi-class field, is you have to be able to work around traffic if you're the class leader. So it's just one of those factors. The better you are with traffic, the better it can be. So we see Coanded being so dominant. It's not just that they're so fast, it's that they are very good at traffic. And we have a car round on the exit of 5, and I believe that is we're having a look now, trying to find out who that is. That's TMA Endurance going spinning again. It should be on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh dear.
Coming through the final turn 5 there. If we can get a replay of that one. On the curb, round they go. Where they'll stop, no one knows. Probably not even them.
Well, let's have a look then. By the way, we're just showing you, it's a bad angle. We're trying to figure it out. Our cameraman has literally just gone to sleep. Wake him up, we'll hit him. There we are. Now you can see there is Ahmed Yamin on pit road, 49 Motorsports. Let's see, will the overcut work here on board of him? We've got, of course, Antti Bajala going to come and be a part of this battle as well. Once again, in a moment's time, long pit stop. It's Bajala's all out and away by already. That was a longer pit stop there for Ahmed Yamin. I think he's trying to take as much as he can right now, so that Rachel, towards the end of the race, he can then do a splash and dash then, I think. Rachel has stopped listening to me. So we'll get her back in a moment. But in the interim there, you can see number 49 Motorsports car back out on track once again. 1 hour, 33 minutes remaining of this, the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. We're going to have a chat with Dino Topic in just a moment's time. He represents the Autobahn team, who of course have been absolutely dominant here today. Led 241 laps of this event so far. Dino, so far, so good.
So far, so good. I think, like we said earlier, John did a great stint. He had a little bit of trouble. Recovered that. Billy did an amazing recovery. Put Robert in a good position. Robert held an absolutely steady pace and set it up for Danny and a couple more laps to go, and we'll see what I can do.
Well, you've got, what, one more pit stop or two more pit stops to go?
Two more. We had, like I said, that right after the first stint, about 10 laps into second, we had to make some small repairs, so that actually put us on a better pit strategy than anticipated, and I'll be doing about stint and three quarters at the end there. So
okay. So at this stage, you've got yourself a 3-lap advantage over the field. You're still doing fast lap times. 1:13.9 was your last lap time. Compare that. That is actually the third fastest lap of the LMP drivers the last time around. But how much can you relax, and how much do you still need to keep the pressure on yourselves, especially on a very narrow racetrack where you've got to maintain concentration every single corner?
That's a good thing you asked that, because I was running a lot of numbers, a lot of math. I mean, I don't know if you saw in chat, but actually I've been sitting here and helping these guys out as much as I can since the start of the race. So 8.5 hours of just numbers, and we figure we can be almost 4 seconds off pace, which would be about 1:15s, and still finish in the lead spot. Now that was with Paul Lundberg on the track. That being said, Miguel's in the car, and we should be pretty relaxed now, managing traffic and bring car home.
Well, before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to at all?
Shout out to Excelsior team, definitely. They're some teammates from the league. They're doing an excellent job. Both Jason and Kevin, and 49 Motorsports with Dexter, Amjad, and all those guys.
Cool, no, that's right. Thank you very much, Tino Topic there for the Autobahn team. And well, Rachel, there can be 4 seconds a lap off pace at this stage and still win the race. But of course, you don't think about that. You think about hitting every apex, and then the rest will happen.
Yes, sir. Actually, if you could just give me a moment, my teammate's calling because the pit stops are coming up. So I'm sure we'll talk to you after the race.
We'll talk to you in a bit. Thank you very much for having a chat with us, Rachel. Interesting phase of the race. into the last 90 minutes now. Autobahn, well, they are going to come onto pit road in the next couple of laps by the looks of it.
They are indeed. They just told us so. But, yeah, you're right. 4 seconds off the pace and they can still win this. They're in a very comfortable spot now. They can afford not to take risks. They can afford to sit back if they have a difficult car to pass and wait for a better part of the track. Yeah, go at full throttle the rest of the time, but if you have to wait at the end of the S's to pass a car, do so. Now is the place where you can screw this up. There's nothing more to gain. Just time to play out.
Right, let's have a look then. Pit stop time for the Excelsior Racing Team car. Kevin Binkley behind the wheel of that one for the time being. And, well, going to get some fresh tyres out and away. 45.3 seconds, Rach.
Yeah, a great stop from those guys and perfectly timed, of course. Everyone having a pretty easy time on pit road here. No many speeding penalties. These cars all have pit limiters. Just somewhat take the talent out of it, but there you go.
Well, let's have a look. 45.3 seconds. Back onto track comes Kevin Binkley. We've got Matt Malone on pit road for the Grip TV Nation car then. Penultimate pit stop for the Grip TV Nation car. As well, it looks as though this again will be somewhere in the region of about 45-50 seconds. Tyres for Maloney there, Rachel. And for this point now, all these drivers are thinking, okay, we've done the hard part. Now we just need to finish off the job.
Yeah, definitely, and that is the major part of this one. They've got to finish this race. As I said, this is where people will screw up the most. People will start pushing now. Not all of the cars will be ready, as we see there. I believe that was the endurance car slow on the front stretch. They've had another incident.
Another one?
No, they came down fast, and then we just listen in. The car comes past pit entrance.
Are they out?
Blown motor. They've blown the motor on that car. The engine just exploded on the TMA endurance car when they were drifting, I think. It could be a gearbox failure, I'm not sure.
Well, we're going to get a listen now. So, on board with the TMA endurance car, coming down into the chicane. All's fine. All is fine. Still fine. Coming out the corner. Final corner. That's weird. Overheating. That must be an overheating issue. Because that was on throttle. So, I mean, we know that car's been in the war today. And you don't get these engines blow up like that. So that must be some form of overheating issue, Rach.
It can happen. Sometimes if you have engine damage in the car, and you can repair parts of it, but you'll still sometimes get a failure. Once engine damage has occurred in the iRacing system, there is always the potential risk of an engine explosion. Even on the throttle, even between shifts. I've had it myself. You'll have repaired lots of it, it'll be fine, and suddenly, pop, it'll be gone. And these things happen to real engines. It's unfortunate for them, and it's really sad. We've tried so hard, and just can't make it to the end here.
I agree. So let's have a look then at driver in P number 2. We've spoken so much about P number 1, P number 3. We've not talked about P number 2, Rachel. The FRT Hawkers Endurance Team. Been a while since we've spoken about them. Francisco Gonzalez behind the wheel of the car right now, heading themselves down in towards the chicane.
Yeah, they've had a very quiet race wheel so far. Just flawless, faultless, kept on moving. Well, they're 3 laps off the leader, but they're in second place, and they've had a great job doing it.
Let's have a look then. Out the final corner, and yep, still in P2. Let's ride a lap on board with them then. We'll get the speed chart up and show you a lap on board with the people in P2. By the way, Bo Gardner's on pit road. We'll come back to that in a moment.
Danny Kane pulling into his pit. He's already in his pit box. Expecting Dino Topic will be hopping back in that car. So I just spoke to him a minute ago. Back in that vehicle to finish the final stint. He'll be out of his box and away. We are expecting they will have to come down pit road again, at least once more. So actually slightly shorten their stint will to about 40 minutes, I think, making it to the end.
Indeed. So there we are. Let's have a look then. That's P2 heading himself. Let's have a look. Oops. Topic. We can talk about him. Yep. Now behind the wheel of that number 902 car. So another stint and 3/4, they said. Standing between themselves and victory here in the Road Warrior Series. And we'll talk about Bo Gardner as well. Bo Gardner now behind the wheel of the 49 Motorsport B car. So that is what they are doing right about now. Just having a look, and we'll show you very quickly the top standings in each of the classes. Race really has settled down. Still got one potential big battle to go. That's between Antti Pajala and Ahmed Yaman. But don't forget, Kevin Binkley is still kind of there in the mix. Don't let anyone forget about that one just yet. Because that one could well be interesting over the course of the last hour and a half, especially if someone needs to do a splash and dash towards the end. So we're going to step aside for a couple of moments. We'll be back with more after this.
Truex in the outside contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we've got ourselves an hour 18 remaining in this, the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Rachel Whiteford has Miguel Martin here from Radicals Online.
Doing well, indeed, Will. Hi, Miguel. Radicals have not had the race they perhaps wanted today, but of course, you guys have managed to come away with an incredible recovery drive from being destroyed at one point to being fourth now.
Yeah, well, the races started pretty well for us, but unfortunately we got some difficulties, and the accidents that we have slowed down a bit the car. And then we had to do the recovery, change a bit the strategy, but I think that in the end, if this ends like this and before, it's like a victory for us at the moment.
Absolutely, and of course, with a lot of the main teams not running this race, this is still major points for Radicals, of course, in the Road Warrior Endurance Series.
Well, considering that the major team like Vortex and the other teams, especially the other that were not present, and we were expecting them, but well, Vortex crashed, and if it ends this way, I think pretty much we score some solid points for the championship. That's our main objective.
Of course, an excellent result, and moving on to the Blancpain Endurance Series, you guys are running in that. Are you feeling strong and confident about your run for the GT Pro Series?
Well, yes, I think that we have a good car. Despite the BMW, we know that the BMW is not the fastest car in the field, but it was what we chose, so we have to deal with it. And well, we didn't have the best luck in Monza, but that got withdrawn, and today the luck was not on our side too, once again. But yeah, we feel that we have a good lineup to fight for the top 40 and try to qualify once again, this time for the first time for the Blancpain Endurance Series next year.
Best of luck with that, of course, and you've got Paul Ilbrink in the car at the moment for you guys. Are you expecting him to finish this stint, or will he be replaced?
No, he will finish the race. We'll finish the stints that we need until the end of the race, so it will be Paul at the end of the race in our car.
Awesome, and good luck with the points, and hopefully you guys can bring this one to the end with a great recovery into P4. That is Miguel Martin from the Radicals Online #1 car. Will?
Indeed. So, Radicals bouncing back, and don't forget, at one point they were all the way down at the rear of the field. But this is the thing, Rachel, they made a mistake early, which hasn't gone on around them. They've been able to move back through the field a little bit.
They have indeed, of course. That incident was with one of the lapped cars. In fact, that was the Pro Racing France car, which is currently on pit road. I believe they're having a stop now. That car got loose and spun in front of them, nowhere really to go for the Radicals car. They had led laps in this race, so it was a strong entry, but just unfortunate timing, being involved in something in the S where there aren't many places to go. Let's not forget it was also in the S's that the Vortex Sim Racing car also met its end.
Yep. Out and away then is the Pro Sim Racing FR-HBD. Hashtag #1. Flavian Fouk behind the wheel of that one. And pit stop time is 33.4 seconds. So not a bad stop there for them. They're going to have one more stop to do, but their stop at the end will be a splash and dash. Let's have a look then up through your field. Let's see what's going on. Yamin versus Pajada. This is the one that's still going on, Rachel. 14.2 seconds is the gap between these two sets of drivers. And, well, they've got an hour, 14 minutes to duke it out. Of course, we remember that Yamin was 6 seconds longer on his last pit stop.
He was, and also the Phoenix Moonshine car, Vanti Pajala, did get the undercut, so a bit more time on fresh tyres. He opened that gap a bit, so combined with that pit stop slowness, that obviously means there's a bit of work to catch up. But they've been pretty balanced, so I suspect they can get back in there. Phoenix are still sitting right behind Coanda. You'd think they were racing position. They're not. They're 4 laps apart. Incredible lead there for Coanda, but Phoenix still right on the coattails of your class leader.
They are. I tell you what, Phoenix are, they're going for it. They're deciding as if they want to try and race out. And actually, last time by, Pajada was, get this, Rachel, 2/100ths of a second faster than Martin Kroenke.
Which is an incredible accolade for him to have. Just saying you actually went faster than Martin Kroenke is a pretty big achievement for any driver.
Well, yeah, in any circumstance. But we're going to ride on board, actually, with Moonshine. This will be an interesting way, Rachel, to have a look at the two different lines that these drivers take.
It will indeed, will, of course. Let's not forget, though, that the BMW and the McLaren have very different handling properties. But this will actually translate to the race between themselves and 49 Motorsports, who are themselves in a BMW.
Yep, as they work themselves down the back straight away. You can see a little bit of a pull there. We've got ourselves an LMP driver heading himself down to the outside, inside, depending on what line you want to call it, the right-hand side of the racetrack, shall we say. There's another one there coming hard into the corner, and that made Coanda just move very far out of the way for a moment there, H.
He did indeed, and a very risky move there by the car of Speed Asylum Red. Perhaps a little too risky a move from them. We've seen moves like that in the past, and let's not forget the controversial move between the Friction Racing prototype and I believe it was one of the Coanda GT cars towards the end of the Neos race here last season. So that corner is a little controversial, and perhaps the Coanda car jumped out of the way expecting something similar.
Indeed, there we are. As now down into the final 75 minutes of today's event, James King is on pit road in the number 74. That is the team Butchfink Racing, open bracket, 1, close brackets car. Well, they are just a little bit far off the pace right now, Rachel. They've done 370 laps. The leader's done in class, done 385. They weren't doing bad at one point, Bushfink, but they had themselves a bit of an incident. I do like the livery on that car, though.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous livery on that car. Really nice, strong colours, and certainly one of the ones that drew my eye. I just have a question, Will, in YouTube. Inside Line was asking any word from the drivers on how the track feels after 9 hours. Well, I can't say for 9 hours, but we have been talking to drivers throughout the day, and they have said the difference really on the racing line has been marginal. The racing line itself has been pretty constant. It's gotten hotter, and it's definitely a bit grippier, but the major difference is that offline there is far less grip. We have seen marbles on the track. They are there. So marbles have built up. You should be able to see them on the broadcast, in fact. But off the racing line, off that black line in the corners, there is next to no grip, which is unfortunately where a lot of these GT cars will end up when prototypes arrive on the scene.
Indeed so. Let's have a look then. And let's go through each of your drivers in the top 5 in each of the classes, one at a time over the course of the next 10 minutes. And Rachel, we have to start with Autobahn. Dino Topic, 902 behind the wheel, 258 laps led here today out of 424.
Incredible run from them, of course, and we just one thing I wanted to quickly point out, Will, is looking at the first and second laps. We're looking at really. Let's go 4 laps into each stint and look at the times that these guys have done throughout the race. At the start of the race, John Ulmer started the car. He was in the 1 minute 11s early on in the stint, so very fast pace. That's of course quite a green track and quite a cool track. Next driver into that car was Billy Smith. His first laps were in the 13s and the 12s. He didn't get into the 11s. Could be driver, could be track. We go to the next stint, which was Robert Jackman, 15s and 14s and 13s. So 13, fastest lap. And we go down to Danny Kane, who's in the car. Fastest lap was 13. And then we go down to Dino, and he's in the 13s and 14s. So the track has slowed down. Even with drivers that have been in the car before, it's about 2-3 seconds slower now than it was at the start of the race.
Well, let's have a look at the last lap time. A 1:13.621. Best lap of the day by Autobahn. A 1:11.407. Still 1.5 seconds faster than anyone else on track that last time by. But they're not slowing down just yet, although they have got 49 car. They're just moving themselves to the outside of them on the exit of turn 7 as they continue their journey. As you can see, they are just sublimely dominant right now. P2 in your LMP car. It is the FRT Hawkers Endurance Team. Francisco Gonzalez just kicking up a little bit of dust there through the SSH.
Yeah, they are indeed. Good clean race from those guys. Not really been involved in too much. They've been pretty quiet. We haven't spoken about them because they've done nothing particularly noteworthy. They have just been a very stealthy, fast team. Not put a foot wrong, just keeping that car moving. And it's paid off for them. They've finished the race so far, and, well, they're looking for a very solid number 2 finish.
P number 3, that is, you can see on your screen now, onlinesimracing.de-LMP2. Now, this one isn't over yet, Rachel. They're 21.8 seconds behind Gonzalez. They are on a slightly different strategy. We've talked about this over the last couple of hours. 4 laps, though, is the difference. Now, having a look at the lap times, they're not gaining any real time on Gonzalez, but there's always the option and the ability to have a last hour charge, and anything can happen in endurance racing.
It can, and of course, that last hour another driver's charge, it can also mean other people getting involved in incidents on the racetrack in that final hour. We will be in that 9-hour bracket in about 7 minutes, Will, so it's really going to be the point where we start to see people pushing a bit harder, potentially an incident or two, so this could change things, and people can get bottled up, so it's certainly not over yet.
No, still plenty that can happen there. Don't forget live timing and scoring, by the way, is available if you head over to raceplot.tv/timing. P4 in your LMP class. That is Radicals Online. Paul Ilbrink bringing that car home. Fastest car on the racetrack that last time by. The number 1 machine, well, they're not going to get anywhere apart from P4 now, unless one of the drivers ahead of them crash. But for Radicals, they were able to get back into contention. This is one of the things about Radicals. They've got heart. Even they didn't rage quit after their incident. They carried on, Rachel, trying to figure out what they can get out of the race, rather than just focusing on what they lost.
Absolutely, and that's why Radicals are one of the top teams on iRacing, especially in endurance racing. They are just dogged. They will keep going, they'll keep fighting. It shows, you know, even in the World Championship Grand Prix Series, they always push. They're always one of those teams that's up there, doing their best, and they never quit. It's awesome to see.
And finally, rounding out your top 5 in your Le Mans Prototype division, it is Speed, Asylum Red. Now, they had themselves a bit of a moment recently, Rachel, but they are going the trouble-free car, Andrew Hoffart behind the wheel. They have one more pit stop to make. They have so far done 8 laps in this stint, so that means that their final stop will be a splash and a dash.
It should be indeed. They had an incident earlier on, maybe an hour ago, and they were on the same lap as Radicals Online. It's dropped them back 1 lap now, but they're still in a good spot. If something happens, then we should see something happening from that. But Realistically, they're looking at a top 5 finish, which is great for them. Next car down is the Pro Racing France. It's 3 laps behind them, so good top 5 for Speed Asylum Red.
Yep, let's go and have a look then in your GT division. Martin Kroenke, Commander Sim Sports. Commander Sim Sports pretty much have led every single lap of this event. They've done 390 laps. They have just been absolutely picture dominant here today. Incredible stuff there for Commander Sim Sports. I want to know how many laps they've led, and we'll find out after the race. But I think it's probably, let's say, about 380 of them, Rachel, at least.
Apart from the early phase where the other cars were on the same lap as them, the lead laps when they pitted, yeah, it's going to be a very high number. Of course, right now we are on 391 laps for the GT field as for Racer Granazes, but will come onto pit road this time round. Martin Kroenke in the car now, bringing it into pit lane. We're going to see the pit crew will give him fuel first, then he'll go up on those jacks. And we should see a tyre change for that number 118 car. Will we see a driver change?
Well, they're going to have a splash and dash, potentially. 1 hour 3 remaining. Keeping an eye out. Will Kroenke stay in the car and bring it home? Will Kivikas get in? Some people expect him to bring the car home. As it stands, it looks as though it will be Kroenke staying in the car. I'm interested to see how long, though, this pit stop will be for them. Are they going to try and fill it all the way up to the brim and try and bring it home without stopping again? We are getting towards the end of this race now. They might just about be able to do it without stopping again. It will come down to a lap here or a lap there. They are going to be close on fuel at the end. 43, 44 seconds on the guns, over 45 seconds. Rachel, they're going to fill it all the way up and try and do this without stopping again.
I think they might. We are on the 9... where they've stopped exactly on the, or just before the 9 hour line. We know the GT cars can go about 1 hour 5, 1 hour 10. This could well be Martin Kroenke taking this to finish. He could afford to save a little fuel. He's got 4 laps to Phoenix Moonshine. They can do it. They can save some fuel here. They can run this car to the end, and it'll be no trouble for them whatsoever. It's a 1 hour stint, and they've got no competition, no one to race. So yeah, I don't think we'll see them on pit road again.
A nice Sunday afternoon drive, but Sunday morning technically, for Martin Kroenke in Germany right now. So, Guten Morgen to Martin Kroenke in the number 118 machine, leading the way 55.3 second pit stop. There you can see Antti Pajada in second place right now. Pajada's been involved in a battle for ages with 49 Motorsports A with Ahmed Yamin. The gap is 15 seconds as it is right now. I'm just thinking that this one is a little bit further away than we might have thought it to be. We expected 49 Motorsports to catch back up, but Antti Pajada has done an incredible job, Rachel, of managing the gap between these two drivers over the course of the last half an hour.
Yeah, let's not forget with the long straights here at Atlanta that the Moonshine car has been very close to the back of the Coanda vehicle. That's given them the ability to tow somewhat, so they've been in the draft. They've opened that gap as well. They've taken advantage of the high-speed tow they've been provided. And yeah, they've managed the gap, they've pulled it open, and it's a really good performance from those guys. They haven't really been anywhere for the first 5 or 6 hours of this race, but now they find themselves in a second position, and they've just stealthed away as usual. They have consistent drivers, and they've put themselves in a position to actually keep that car on the road without damage, and they'll bring it home in a brilliant spot.
Third place, well, we've been talking in some ways about them. Ahmed Yamin, 49 Motorsports. I think this is it now for Yamin, unless I've got a feeling that he's going to get out of the car when next time they come on towards pit road. Someone else is going to bring that car home. I'm not quite sure who would do it. However, I think that Yamin probably just getting a little bit tired now behind the wheel of that car. His last lap, a 121.735. I mean, that's not far away from his fastest lap of the day. I will be honest, but I think that he's tired and he's run out of steam in some ways now.
Yeah, I think he is, but at the same time, you can afford to. It's been a very long race. We've been here for 9 hours now. So, for some drivers and cars in secure positions, I apologise, Now is just the time to cruise the car home, make sure we don't make any mistakes, and cross that finish line. Drivers in a position where they have to fight, they've put new fresh drivers in, they're going to push, so we're going to see some movement in that region, but realistically there's not much on the line.
Yep, as they have got, though, only a 27-second gap to the Excelsior Racing Team car of Kevin Binkley. So Binkley still has got a shot here, Rachel, of getting himself a podium finish. He has to hope things goes his way. I'm having a look at the pit stop differences between these two teams. And, well, 4 laps to the good is Excelsior. That's not worth 27 seconds, though.
Not really at all. It's certainly one that will probably stay in the quiet region. Just don't think that can really be closed in what time we have left.
We say that, and of course, naturally, what's going to happen is there's going to be an incident somewhere, or someone's going to mess up in pit road, and before we know it, we're going to have 2 people scrapping it out for a podium finish. 58 minutes of this race to go. We'd love to see it. It's been a demure second half of this race. P5 is the core sim racing car, Rachel, of Yuri Gamelkuren.
It is indeed, and well, they've been in a pretty good spot. They've had some incidents, of course. They had an early spin off turn 5, but they've managed to hold that car back in, and they're running top 5 for their class, which is a great recovery. They're ahead of cars that have been better, but they're here at the end, which is what matters. So, core sim racing, making a good recovery, and showing you can push your way back in with just guts and glory.
I just saw a car go off of the track. Trying to figure out, it was Nicholas Milesi there. Going to get ourselves a quick replay of that one if we can. Go to you on board with him. I think this is on the exit of turn number 5. We're going to have a ride on board then with the number 9 car, the GTRF Team Purple car, running himself down the hill, and the car just got very wide into the gravel and clonked into the wall again, Rachel.
Yeah, they have. Unfortunate for those guys, and well, we've had a lot of incidents like exactly like that one throughout this race. Will getting the car in the wrong position, just grabbing a bit of curb, and it goes uncontrollably in that direction. Just not much you can do.
Well, 57 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this afternoon, this evening, and this morning's event. Call it what you will. Let's run through some of your retirees. We're going to run through it from the people who retired first up to the people who are still running in the race. DWS Racing are going to be classified at the very rear of your field. Team VSR will be P number 17 in class. CTC Racing Red, P16 in class. One Row Sim Sport GT1, they're going to be P15 in class. P14 in the GT field will be Shark Motorsport. Bringing up the rear of the Le Mans Prototype division will be More Autosport. You've got yourself TMA Endurance out of the race. The Abernathy Racing Team out of the race. Perhaps most surprisingly, Vortex Sim Racing, HBD, P16 in class. How's she going, iRacing? That was going to be a solo effort, the 911 car, out of the event, P15 in class. Mana MP Motorsports are out. T-Racing, out. Sim Racing Maniacs, out. Real Motorsport also out of the event. PRT technically are classified as out, as are 73 Motorsport, HPD. You've also got Spirit of Le Mans, TNT Racing Gold, Red Devolution Racing, all out of the event. Red Devolution Racing, actually, just to have a check to see what they are doing right about now. As we've got, by the way, that car on pit road, which we were talking about a moment ago, the number 9 machine. The Red Devolution Racing car, number 2 machine, is actually on racetrack. Evan Mill behind the wheel. Pretty much the second to last car on track right now, P number 11. That's not what Red Devolution Racing wanted to have happen with their day, Rach.
No, it's not, and they had such a strong run. They've been at the front all day, and that mistake, we saw a half spin in the final corner. They managed to hold that one on the grass. Thought, well, your tyres are cooked, they should come to pit road. We fully expected them to come to pit road, and they didn't. They stayed out, and the car lost traction again. This time, unfortunately, the pit wall said no, and they ended up making contact with disastrous consequences. A terrible end. Perhaps panic to hold the position. unfortunate for those guys, but this is racing, those things happen, and a decent competitor is out.
Having a look there, JD Bogardama making what will be his final pit stop of the day for the 49 Motorsport B team, as they are going to be out and away in the next 15 seconds or so. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, next week we're back on iRacing Live, as we are going to go racing on the mountain.
Bathurst.
Yeah.
It's supercars.
Yeah. We've, of course, completed our coverage
supercars,
of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. That's been on Racebot TV and on iRacing Live all year. That one is done and dusted. Hutu is a 5-time champion. Great. Sorted. Now, we're heading ourselves to the mountain. The iRacing.com Bathurst 1000. One of the most hotly anticipated races of the year will be in a week's time on Racebot TV and on iRacing Live. Drivers are going to go up the mountain, they're going to go back down it. Expect some passing, expect many exciting moments. That is in just 7 days' time here on the world's greatest sim racing broadcaster. Well, 53 minutes to go, and let's have a look on board for the time being then with driver in P3, online sim racing.de and MP2. If I expect one person to start taking risks, Rachel, it's this guy.
Who are we talking about? Sorry?
The online sim racing.de-LMP2 number 45 machine.
There you go. We're talking about him. Sorry, I was still thinking about Bathurst. Yeah, the online sim racing.de car's been pretty good all race. They were on the same lap as the FRT Hawkers, but looking on the live timing right now, of course, if you want to see live timing, you can go to racebot.tv/live timing. You can see exactly what we're seeing on that board. Looking at it now, hang on. Timing. Racebot.tv/timing, not live timing. I apologise. Racebot.tv/timing. And the online sim racing.de car is currently 22 seconds behind FRT Hawkers.
And last lap did a 1:14.1.
Sure, that can be made up. 13.7 for Hawkers and a 14.1 for racing.de. So pretty far back. A bit slower right now, and plus that could be traffic, we don't know. But I don't know if they can catch them. They may have to push pretty hard here, and they are trying. But I think it might be just beyond their grasp. We're looking at 50 minutes remaining, as he's going to try and make a pass in the S. Is very bold move there on the McLaren behind him. Beautiful scheme on that car. We'll get through the traffic in time, but very risky move, and this could be problems for them.
Yeah, for 2 laps in a row they've had issues with traffic. I think the 45 car are just getting a little bit agitated there. He has got a clear-ish track for the next lap or so. Just get a look there from my aerial coverage, and actually you can see one driver is going to be done and dusted by the time they get out of turn number 6. But then after that, it's going to be a lot easier. As you can see there, it's going to be nicely passed, no issues at all, and then a pretty much clear track, which will be for the S's for the next lap. And that actually might be the start of some momentum for Jan Philip Weed in the online sim racing DE LMP2 car. Let's ride a lap on board of him then. Let's show you what it is like to do a lap on board with this driver late on in the race. Oh, he's coming on towards pit road. Let's not do that then, Rachel.
No, let's not. Yep, coming onto pit road now for those guys. We'll see exactly what they can do. They're coming in. This will be their final splash and dash. I'm not sure if the Hawkers need to pit yet. Looking for their times. That's Francisco Gonzalez. He has not been on pit road since lap 352. So they should be coming down pit road pretty soon, and hopefully it could be a jump here for the simracing.de guys if they can get this one on fresh tyres quicker.
Yeah, we
saw the power of the undercut.
Weed is going to stay in that car as well, so he's going to bring it home for that team. Obviously, they think that he is the fastest of those group of drivers. It'll be very interesting to see what Gonzalez will do when they come in towards pit road, whether or not he's this is the interesting thing, Rachel. Have they each done enough time-wise? Can they do any more? Especially Gonzalez. Is he entitled to do another stint, or is he going to have to hand that car over to someone else? And there you can see, actually, a full lap is the difference now. And this is useful for Weed, because now you can actually gain a little bit of time and save a tiny bit of fuel. Save those tyres, and he doesn't need to pass him once, but he can actually figure out now where the weak spots are on Gonzalez's race car.
He can, and he's going to have to work really hard to make that actually pay off for those guys, but I think it's possible. I think they've got the potential to do it. They just have to really pull this one together, make sure they have no problems here on pit road, get some good fast laps in once they get those fresh tyres and make up that difference.
Well, there you can see he's going to draft down the back straight away. Is he going to try and make the pass? He's going to go around the long way, actually, down in towards the chicane. And it looks as though, yes, you don't want to fight and nail this late into the race. There's no need to be doing that. You've got a lap advantage there, Gonzalez. Come on. Are you coming on towards pit road? No, you're not. There's no need to be fighting for every single second like that. You've got 22 seconds net advantage right now, Rachel. That was a little bit too aggressive to play defense. 48 minutes to go, and the advantage that he has, I think that was Gonzalez just potentially under pressure.
Yeah, I think he is, and Gonzalez might be feeling that now. He knows he has to push as hard as he can to open this gap up, because on fresh tyres, the online simracing.de car is pretty quick right now. Their tyres are really gone now for the Hawkers. Simracing.de have had some good laps. This will be really important now to see this, because of how close he's come out of pit stall. This could mean they come out behind them if they are this close to them. They weren't before, now they're closed up. I genuinely think that simracing.de will be ahead once Hawkers pit.
37-second pit stop. Ahmed Yamin, last pit stop of the day for the 49 Motorsports A team. We'll keep you updated on that continuing battle. Let's go back then and have a look at this. Once again, Weed having to stay behind through the exit of the chicane. Gonzalez, will he make that journey towards pit road? No, they'll stay out and do another lap. 47 minutes and 32 seconds. Down in towards turn number 1, free wide, threading the needle. We'll go to the outside then. It's going to be Weed. Is he going to find a way past? This is really aggressive. He does find a way past, and that time, I think Gonzalez was like, you know what? You want the position that badly, have it.
Well, this is critical. They had to get past so they can open this gap on fresh tyres well. Now they have that. When the Hawkers do pit, this could be really bad for them. They could come out behind.
Yep, but don't forget, the gap was 22 seconds to start with. Now, the online simracing.de people need to push like there's no tomorrow. And also, they need to hope the fact that Gonzalez and the team there, the Hawkers team, are going to wait a while before they come on towards pit road. There you can see the FRT Hawkers endurance team. We're going to ride along board with them as they head themselves down the back straight away. Let's figure out what they are doing in the remaining part of this race. Let's get a speed chart up as well. Up to 280 kilometers an hour as they come down in towards that downhill braking zone into the chicane. Well, realistically, there's about 30 laps left of this race, no more, and the Hawkers team are on pit road, Rach.
Yeah, they are. It's their final pit stop. We need to see what they can do here. So it's going to be really interesting. Can they get this car out to head? It's going to be a big lap now for simracing.de.
Yep, so simracing.de know that they've got to push. They've got to keep the momentum on their side. I'm intrigued. Is Gonzalez going to bring that car home? Or is he going to hand that car over to someone else? Let's get the pit stop timer then. Final pit stop for that team. And it looks as though Gonzalez will stay in the car as far as we can tell. So it will be these two people, Gonzalez and Weed, going tete-a-tete for the final stint of this event. Now, Hawkers should come out in front. Should. But let's see how long the pit stop time is. It was 33.3 for... So 31.3 even for Weed. Hawkers, a little bit longer. 33.5 out and away. They have the advantage. Nice and easy. You see, Weed isn't even on the exit of the final corner yet. So that 21-second gap, Rachel, remains for the time being. But now, Weed will need to really, really push it.
He will, but he's got a HPD ahead of him, so this could be something that slows him down. That is, he's still running GTR's Team Purple car. are still out there turning laps. But you have to make sure there's a big lap from Hawkers. Online simracing.de, you've also got GT traffic. The Moonshiner's car ahead of him, but he's passed there pretty quickly. Heading now through the S's, so this gap is now not as big as it once was, but they are closing it now. Let's not also forget that the simracing.de car has got hot tyres.
Yep. One battle we have actually got going on. Grip TV Nation versus 49 Motorsports. Matt Maloney versus JD Bogardner. Grip TV versus Global Sim Racing Channel. 1 second separating these two people. As far as I'm aware, they are on their final stint of the day. I'm going to confirm that one for you. No, they're not actually, Rachel. Grip TV are on a different strategy. 49 Motorsports have done all their stops for today. Grip TV have got to come on towards pit road again.
They do one more time, so this is not a true battle, unfortunately, because we'd love to see that.
Yeah, and the gap is about a third of a second right now. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to just see the 49 Motorsports car breeze past. No real issues between these two here. Coming down in towards the chicane. Not yet. We'll make them stay behind for another lap, shall we? What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside for the final time today. We will be back in just a couple of moments. For the final time, take your Motorsport TV side by side. But here comes Gregor Hutu into Canada corner for the final time. Just 2 corners left to go before he finally makes himself a triumphant return back to victory lane. He has led 38 laps of this event here today, and Gregor Hutu once again is a winner. Gregor Hutu will work himself through the Cobra Parabolica. He will claim his 46th victory in iRacing.com World Championship competition. Gregor Hutu, for the 2nd race in a row, reigns supreme.
The one thing that I think is the most important is we've been racing this Ground Championship Series for quite some time now, a very long time even at that, and he is the only driver to have ever won a professional road race at Watkins Glen.
But there is nothing that could crack that finish #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu worked himself out the final corner, and just as he did in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, in 2015, Hutu once again wins at Watkins Glen.
Hutu will come across the line and takes the win for round 7 here at Virginia International Raceway.
Here he comes now, just 3 corners left to go, into Brooklands for the final time, into Luffield for the final time. Never, ever say that Gregor Hutu is beaten, because he just comes back bigger. He comes back stronger. He wins round #9 of the World Championship Series, 49th win of his career. If you're the world's greatest sim racing driver, you can do it with your statements on the road courses. Do it when it matters. Out of the final corner for the final time, number 50 for Gregor Hutu, out of the final corner. At the top of the broadcast, we said if Hutu could win here today, he could well cement himself as the championship favourite. Gregor Hutu, the #1 machine, back to victory lane, win number 51. Hutu is inching closer rapidly to his 5th, and yes, I say that correctly, his 5th World Championship. Out of the bus stop chicane comes the #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu will win here at Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Yes, you may be behind a computer with a steering wheel and a set of pedals, but for these drivers, this is as close as they may ever get to racing in real life. It will be Gregor Hutu coming past the line. He is a 5-time world champion. Gregor Hutu wins the championship one more time. He is the greatest driver in the history of open wheel racing here at iRacing.com, and dare I say it, he is the greatest open wheel champion in the history of sim racing. We always say, ladies and gentlemen, that it's not over until it is over. And we've got drama here in the remaining, well, 39 minutes of this event. We have ourselves a car on pit road. That driver is a 902 car. And, well, Rachel, it looks as though they may be out.
Well, we have no idea yet, Will. They had an impact with, I believe that was the car of, well, we saw them before, Red Devolution Racing, the damaged McLaren. Spun out in the S's. Light impact with the wall, but rear damage. They shouldn't realistically be out.
They've lost the lead already, though.
They said they've lost the lead. Oh no, they've lost, well, back on the same lap as FPR Hawkers, which is an incredible coup for those guys, but Autobahn Motorsports, they're back out on track. They should still be in the lead, I believe.
They're not. They are down in P number 3 as it stands. You have got, though, your top 3 drivers separated by 30 seconds as it stands right now. Let's have a look. Another look. Autobahn Motorsports. This is down into, there we are, into the S's. Turn around, grazing the wall. Dino Topic is in that car. Well, we said it had been a slightly quiet race here today. Not anymore. Actually, no, Autobahn are on pit road. They are still on pit road. So their car looks as though they are not going to be coming back out anytime soon. It's a 2-horse race in the battle for the race lead between Francisco Gonzalez and the FRT Hawkers Endurance Team and Juan Philip Reed in the online sim racing DE car. If you're Weed in that number 45 car, knowing now, Rachel, that there is victory you're fighting for, do you just get that extra wave? Do you start pushing it?
Absolutely, Will. Absolutely. The online sim racing DE car is now going to have to go flat out. They have the chance of the race win here in the Petit Le Mans. That is major. FRT Hawkers are currently leading. Their gap at the moment, I believe, stands at about 18 seconds. There are 35 minutes remaining. It's possible. They can be caught. This will have to be the driver of the century from the online sim racing DE guys. I don't know if they're capable of it, but it's possible. Their last lap was a 12.8. They are pushing hard now. They are currently 1 second a lap faster than Hawkers. This could happen.
Also, Radicals Online in 2 laps time will pass the 902 car. So that will mean this car that is still on pit road there, the Autobahn Motorsports car, Dino Topic, he may actually not even get a podium out of today. Here's a look at the live times between Hawkers and OnlineSimRacing.de. It's 19.1 seconds. Last time by, the response was there by Gonzalez. He did a 112.675, a 113.775 for Jan Philip Weed. Keep you updated also. Pajada versus Jamin. That one is separated by just 7 seconds. And here's one other thing as well. Their lap times are pretty much identical. One bad lap, this entire race can turn itself on its head. Now, this is what we call a sprint race. And I tell you one thing. If you're Hawkers, if you're online sim racing, you wish you had the ability to just use your indicators right now, Rachel.
Yeah, I think they do. They really want to keep this lead, and they're going to end up getting caught in traffic, I think, which they are doing, including pro-start traffic, which will not be as easy to dispatch. Have to think of Autobahn, though. They didn't need to push the issue. They were cruising home for victory here. Passing in the S's. If I was 2 laps up on the field, I'd never pass a car in the S's. Ever. I'd wait. I wouldn't take the risk. People are debating at the moment on YouTube whether it was a dangerous spot or not. I personally think it is a dangerous spot. We've been lucky all race, and as John Ullman was saying, that one of the drivers, of course, for the Autobahn team, there's been no issue before because people have backed out.
Yeah.
You can't assume that. you have to assume that they're just going to hold their racing line and their momentum and expect you to go around them. And this is gutting for Autobahn. They've led the vast majority of this race. A minute and a half left of required repairs. They're going to get passed by Radicals. They're not even going to finish on the podium. This is
They're already
boring.
out. They're not even on the podium now. Radicals have already gone past. The question is going to be, are they going to finish P4 or are they going to finish in P5 at this stage? Because you've got Andrew Hoffa in the treble 3 car, who looks as though he may be sniffing a top 4 finish. This is turn its race upside down. Gap, battle for the race lead, 18.4 seconds. They are trading lap times. Last time back at 1:14.0 for Gonzalez. Past the start finish line will come Jan-Philipp Weed. And he's going to have a car. He's going to have to go and pass it in turn number 1. But that's a 1:13.2. He's lucky he's going to be able to pass that car in towards turn 1. It was a roof. 18.8 seconds is the gap. It seems to be it's who can negotiate traffic better. And it will be whoever catches traffic in the S's is going to lose all forms of momentum. But I do think Gonzalez is better in a straight fight between these two, because actually we just lost 3 tenths of a second this lap with no one around him, Rachel.
He has, and that's going to really hurt them. Traffic's playing into this one now as everyone's pushing, but it's now 18.4 seconds. We'll see what it is at the line. The live gap, I believe, is still 19 seconds. I'm not sure it's achievable. I think unless FRT Hawkers make a mistake pushing hard to stay away, I think this one's going to the FRT Hawkers team. A team who've been so quiet all day, so consistent, and they're going to sneak a coup.
As we can see there, Jan-Philipp Weed. Well, he's going to try. He's going to try for the next 32 minutes and 50 seconds or so. We're going to show you another battle very quickly. This is Ahmed Yamin. Last time by, he was half a second slower than Antti Pajada. These two drivers have also been trading lap times. Lap after lap after lap. Phoenix Moonshine versus 49 Motorsport, battling for P2, P3 in your GT division. Dino Topic, by the way, is back out on track in the 902 car, Rachel. He's down in P number 4. The speed asylum red car is on the same lap as him, as it stands, we think.
Yeah, they are, I believe. So, Autobahn Racing back out with a car that is damaged. It just snapped a little bit coming through the S's there. Not looking like a particularly healthy car. I think they're just out to try and save positions now rather than go fast. It could end up hurting them more, though, I suspect, if they crash. But right now, they're out on track. They're doing what they can. Radicals have gone from being out of the race to being on a podium spot, which is Christmas for those guys. And, well, this will be the fight. Will FRT Hawkers Endurance Team make a mistake? Will something happen to them in these final laps, trying to push so hard to get away from the guys of OnlineSimRacing.de? We could only find out. But the gap is still hovering around 19-18 seconds. It's a bit close to call.
It is. The Ahmed Yamin Anti-Pajala battle, let's add a second to that one as well. Horrible lap there for Ahmed Yamin in the number 49 Motorsports car. It's been stuck behind a Ford GT all lap long through the S's. And, well, he's going to hope he's getting a little bit of a draft right now. We've got ourselves a car on pit road. That is Pakkanen getting in behind the wheel of the number 15 machine. That's the Core Sim Racing Road Warrior car. And, well, it's splash and dash time, Rachel, for some of these drivers. Last driver change, just making sure they get the car in, get the car out.
Absolutely, do exactly what you have to do here and just get it out of the way. But this is crunch time, Will. We're into the final half an hour of this race now. There is not a single car that is not pushing for this win.
Yep, 30 minutes, 40 seconds on the play clock. And let's have a look. It looks as though that Gonzalez is actually eked that gap up now to over 20 seconds. So every time you get yourself the OnlineSimRacing.de team do a lap, Gonzalez comes back. But at what percentage are these guys operating right now, Rachel? That's the important thing. Are they at 99%? If so, does that mean that one of them might make an incident? And just look there, you've got 5 drivers pretty much nose to tail through the S's. So Gonzalez, I'm just trying to figure out where he is on track. He won't catch them for the next couple of laps, actually. It'll be okay. Veed has just gone past 4 drivers. He's got another batch of drivers that he'll be passing in 2 laps' time. I think it's advantage Gonzalez because the traffic's just not been working for the online simracing.de team.
No, it's not. So this is going to be a real question to see what happens here. I think you are right. I just don't think there's enough time. I don't think there's enough traffic or pit stops left. These guys aren't hitting pit road anymore. This is it. This is the final run. The traffic is not dense enough to really hold up the Hawkers car. Unless he makes a self-incident, unless he causes a problem himself, I don't think there's anything going to happen here.
No, and of course, when you know that you've got the gap and you can manage the gap, things are on your side. That gap was to start coming down. That's when we'd be focusing the attention back on Gonzalez. That gap is seemingly increasing every lap. It was a 112.8 for Gonzalez last time by, a 113.6 for Veed in that online sim racing car. And look at the traffic. Look at the traffic. That is for Weed. He's having to slow it down through the S's. There's a second almost automatically lost there. Past 1 of 5 drivers he has to get past. I'll tell you what, Rachel. If he was a second closer, ironically, he would have lost 5 seconds.
Yeah, he would have done, and that's, well, interesting timing for them, but great driving here from Jan-Philippe Weed, just pushing so hard now, but it's going to be interesting now. And I believe I had a comment from Fortnite Motorsports, saying no chance for second with us now, that Phoenix are hitching a ride for the last 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yep, Phoenix have been hitching a ride. They've been sat on the Coanda bus, having fun and telling jokes, and yeah, the Coanda bus has been very kind to the Phoenix Moonshine car. They've definitely been hitchhiking, but it's worked so well for that team. These guys are experienced veteran endurance racers. They know every trick in the book.
Yep, there is Martin Conte. He is your leader in class with a 1 lap advantage over Phoenix Moonshine. You see Moonshine is there in that mix. Yamen 10.1 seconds behind Prajala. There was a big gaggle of cars there actually. As the gap between P1 P2 in GT, so in LMP, 23.1 seconds. It is still increasing. It is.
Well, it's the traffic, Will.
Yeah.
The traffic is huge for them.
Well, we talked about this a moment ago. The fact that traffic was going well for Hawkers, but badly for online sim racing. There's that final thing as well, Rachel. You never want to crash the leader out, but you always move out the way for the leader.
Well,
a little bit less so. Yeah, no, you don't want to, but you always move out the way more for the leader. Then you probably.
You say that, but this is why we're in this very situation.
Yeah, true.
Someone didn't move out the way for the leader, and that's why we have a new leader. But you know what? This is the first race we've had in this 24-hour endurance, or the Road Warrior Endurance Series, including our 24-hour races, the 6 hours of the Glen, and the 12 hours of Sebring. This is the first race where we have a race for the lead, 2 cars on the same lap at the end.
Yep.
It's the first time.
Indeed. We've got ourselves, let's have a look. 11 laps led now here today by Gonzalez. And just having a look as well. Ironically, P3 and 4, Rachel, combined have led over 300 laps in this event. And none of them have any chance right now of getting anywhere close to the victory. And that shows one more time that to finish first,
You must first finish.
yes.
Or be finished, that too.
Well, yeah, well, even though being finished hasn't really worked for some drivers either today. Let's have a look then. The top 8 in each of the classes here on Racespot TV. Hawkers leads by 21.5 seconds. 25 minutes left on the clock. Radicals Online are in 3rd. Then Autobahn Motorsports are back on pit road. Is it going to be even worse there for Hawkers? They're back on the pits, Rachel.
Will, this is a tricky position to be in right now. Tough numbers for them, but Autobahn on pit road, this could be a retirement, not sure. They're still in the car. Further damage for the Autobahn Motorsports car. They've been pushing The damage obviously on the car was too severe for them to drive properly, I believe. Trying to find out what's happened for them. But that car looking much, much more damaged. Oh, we have a spin for them. It was on lap 452 in the S's. Self-spin with the damage from that car. Spinning around hard. Impact with the wall. Big impact, and they'll have a slowdown penalty as well because they took the Road Atlanta short course to get a shortcut back to the pits.
Right, let's have a look then. This is on board of them. Down in towards the S's they come, and back end is going to step out any second now, I presume. And this is not the day for Autobahn. It started oh so well. That was a very hard lick of the wall. They're down into
They've
P number
retired
5.
well, unfortunately. They have retired the car.
Yep, so they are out of the event, but there we are. A team who led 279 laps here today. It is all over for them. And what a shame. Autobahn, Autosport. We're going to get a word, hopefully, with Dino Topic in a couple of moments' time. But that car is toast. It looks as though they are out. We've got a car on pit road right now. That is Matt Maloney in the number 23 machine. There you can see making his final pit stop of the day in the Grip TV Nation car. Hopefully, we are going to try and get a word with Dino Topic in a moment's time. Of course, emotions must be high for that Autobahn car. But Dino, what a crazy last hour. Talk us through what's happened.
Hold on, let me clean up the mess I made. I don't know. Turn 2, it was. I heard Rachel mention it wasn't a good spot, but I mean, all race long, I've been watching our guys, I've been watching other guys. I made my intentions early, like turn 1, I was already alongside him, and these guys, they flipped the car 3 or 4 times. You know how long they were in the pits. They decided that outbraking race leader would be smart in there, and then the rest of it is history. The spin at the end obviously was not enough downforce in that corner.
How hard was it to drive the car after the initial impact? Of course, we saw you come back out on track, but it just seemed to me the car was just nowhere near the same as what it was when you'd led 279 laps.
It wasn't that bad. I was a little down on straightaway speed. I'm only about a half a second on the lap times, but the right turns were. There's no rear end downforce on the right turns because of that hit. So going through the S's was a little hard and should have lifted, but no. Tough luck.
Indeed, tough luck. And what a shame, because again, 279 laps you've led in today's event. How heartbreaking is it for it to happen in the last hour after what had almost been a dream performance for your team?
It's very disappointing, unfortunately for me. I feel like I really let these guys down because John worked his rear end off. Billy had an amazing recovery drive. Danny and Robert had kept their consistency that I should have had as well. In between the stints, I would practice as well, and you know, endurance is what it is. I mean, Radicals had a great recovery drive, so I gotta give it that. But it wasn't enough for us.
You know, Topic, the Autobahn car unfortunately retired with less than 30 minutes of the race. Rachel, we have just had, thank you very much, Dino, by the way, for talking to us. We just had the Grip TV car on pit road, a long pit stop for them towards the end of the race. That has dropped them back to 8th place in class.
It has indeed, and had some contact on that car, some side-on impacts in the right-hand side. So, late mistake for those guys, and that's gutting for them. They had a strong performance so far today. Unfortunately, it won't be reflected in the finishing positions, but it's, yeah, this is the nature of endurance racing. Things can happen in the first 10 minutes, or they can happen in the last 5 minutes. It's the same result, and the only difference is when it happens in the first hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, like for Radicals, you have time to dig your way out of the hole. Unfortunately, right now, no one's given them a shovel.
Indeed so. Gap for the race lead, by the way, 22 seconds as it stands. 20 minutes to go. Well, Gonzalez looks as though he's managing the gap. Let's ride a lap on board with a driver who an hour ago thought a win was a pipe dream. Now is 20 minutes away from winning the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. On board then with FRT. Well, Rachel, the lap times go so quickly here. That one in 1 minute 14.067. Well, I have to say, it's been a crazy race here today. It looks as though things have settled themselves down in both LMP and GT. Of course, we have the ongoing Antipajada versus Ahmed Yamin battle. That one is steady at 10 seconds right now.
It is, and well, Ahmed Yamin's had a great run so far today. Just not enough to hold off Antipajala. The Finn that's been sitting on the Coanda bus, of course. Playing the tactics, that's what you got to do. It's not always about who's fastest, it's who can put themselves in the fastest situation, and the Phoenix Moonshine Guard did just that. They've had a great performance, and that McLaren up in P number 2 right now. They are 5 laps behind your Coanda class leader. But it's enough for a second step at the podium. 49 Motorsports, they've got to be happy with the third step. A great performance by them, Will. Just a powerful performance. They've kept that car clean. They've done what they had to do. Yeah, it's not been enough for P2. But honestly, they've had a great drive. And they deserve it. They deserve the position. And yeah, I really think they've had a brilliant outing.
I agree. As we tick it just past midnight here in the United Kingdom. 17 minutes left to go. The Pros Racing FR-HPD number 1 machine. Splash and dash for him. 31.4 seconds out and away. Final pit stop of the event. P5 for him. Just give you an update, by the way. Just trying to do the math here. Vincent Brahim in the number 44 car will move himself up into P number 6. There you can see the number 44 bloody Dutch car. They will be able to catch and pass Dino Topic in time according to our calculations. So this is lap number 445. They need to get to lap 452 to move up into P6. That one will happen, Rachel.
It will indeed, and well, this a topsy-turvy race, absolutely topsy-turvy, and the finishing positions, I think, well, I don't think perhaps some of them will represent who has done what in the race today, but this is how motor racing is. Not what you deserve, it's what you can get. Sometimes it requires a different attitude, an approach, mentality, and some teams have got that better than others. Some teams have been unlucky, and some teams have been very successful at it. Of course, with the vast increase in endurance racing we've seen in recent months and years, I think that will change, but at the same time, there's always been a problem when you've got multi-class racing with mixed car classes with such a speed disparity. There will always be a problem. There will always be a car with wrecked cars not behaving how their drivers want them to. The driver may want to hold a line, and may not want to have to carry so much speed through a corner, and that stops them being predictable because the drivers of the faster class are now not sure what they're going to do, And the GT drivers are also not sure what a broken HPD is going to do. You know, they never received the nickname of High Performance Dozer for no reason.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Autobahn Motorsports car. It's still on pit road, it's still got the lights on, but no one is home right now. Unfortunately, the 902 car, looking as though they could lose out on P number 6. They led a total of 279 laps today. That is what the heartbreak is, and of course that was our big story of the last hour. 25 seconds is the gap from P2 to P number 1, so it does look as though that unfortunately the online simracing.de car can't find a way of pushing themselves to the front. FRT Hawkers 15 minutes away now from winning this evening's event. So incredible racing here today in the prototype division. It all turned itself upside down. Yamin has closed the gap to within 10 seconds again. There you can see Antipajada, and there you can see the car of Ahmed Yamin. Actually, got a little bit of traffic just ahead of it. You might recognize that car just ahead. That's a car that has become notorious because of the fact that it was involved in that clash with the Autobahn car about 30-40 minutes ago now, putting them out of the event. Well, Rachel, let's sum this race up. Crazy is all we can say.
Crazy it has certainly been. This race is not disappointed. We've had action, we've had drama, disappointment and excitement, and the endurance series here at the Road Warrior has never disappointed. I don't think I've been disappointed by a single race we've had this season, and Petit Le Mans is no different. All I know is the next thing we go to that will have Le Mans in the title will be Circuit de la Sarthe.
Indeed, and if you're Jonathan Boutel and we ask you to do a track guide, you might actually know it when you go to Le Mans. Of course, that will be next June here on iRacing Live, we hope. So there we can see that. P3 in your GT division. It is at number 49 Motorsports car. And Bajada in the Phoenix Moonshine car is in P number 2. But still leading the way is Martin Conke in class. Let's ride ourselves then in a moment on board for a lap with the driver who will come home pretty much guaranteed within the next few minutes with the race win for the Crown Sim Sports team. Martin Conke, part of, again, a magnificent drive for Crown Sim Sports. And let's not forget, Conke came second early on in today in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series event at Circuit of the Americas in Texas. Then basically went himself over to Atlanta to finish off the day in the Carana Simsport car. Double duty. Let's ride on board Martin Conke. 11 minutes to go. There you are, Martin Conke then. Just a handful of laps left for him to go. Here's a look at your your LMP race leader. It is FRT Hawkers Endurance Team. A couple of minutes ago on Twitter, they said, hashtag iRacing Le Mans, new leader. 30 minutes to go, indeed. They are the new leader. They've led now 24 laps in today's event. Rachel, the ironic thing is that's less than 10% of the laps that the Autobahn team have led here today. Rachel is so shocked by the fact that I just made a comment, a statistical comment, that she's forgotten I exist.
I actually had.
Yeah. But FRT working themselves now. This is their 25th lap. And they're going to lead Rachel, but still less than 10% of the laps. It
is, but they've also pulled the gap open between themselves and OnlineSimRacing.de's LMP2 car. So 29 seconds now between those two. They have cemented the right to this position of the two cars on that lead lap now. Of those two, the quiet team, FRT Hawkers endurance team, deserve this position of both of these two. Online Sim Racing have been trying, but honestly, I think both quiet teams who really didn't get involved in an awful lot, Will. Hawkers are showing now they deserve this spot.
They are, indeed. Less than 9 minutes to go now. 8 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Don't forget, next week we go over to Australia. It will be the iRacing.com Bathurst 1000. It will be in 1 week's time. It will be here on the world's greatest sim racing broadcaster, that is Racesport TV, and on iRacing Live. Rachel, in a week, we go V8 racing.
Get supercars. We go to Bathurst. I like Bathurst. There's lots of mountains and Australians. That's a terrible accent, I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, thankfully we're going to have some real Aussies. We've got some real Australians.
Yeah, we imported them, especially.
Yeah, we have. We've been training them.
I'm in a cage.
Oh, that's not fair. Come on. We've got to be nice to them by this time next week.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
By the way, Vincent Bream has just moved himself up into P6 in class in the bloody Dutch car. So Danny Kane is officially behind the wheel of the Autobahn car. And they are officially now down in P number 7. That is where they will finish the race, because Nicholas Mulisi, who's in P number 8 in the GTRS Team Purple car, well, they are only 54 laps behind the race leader. They're only 30 laps behind P number 7. The GTS team, they literally could just pull over now, save a bit of fuel, go and get a pint, Rachel, but they want to finish this race.
Yeah, they do, and I think it's an honour thing. They want to make sure that car comes to the end of this race, and a lot more power to them. It's an important thing to get up and say, not the result we wanted, but we're going to finish.
Well, let's look at your top 8 then, in each of your classes. FRT Hawkers, leading by 28 seconds over OnlineSimRacing.de-LMP2. Then third place, a concerted drive by Radicals Online to get themselves back into a podium finish. And I tell you one thing, Hawkers almost lost it down in turn number 6 there. That was very close with a core sim racing car. Gonna get ourselves another look at that one, because that was close. Replay up of this one down into 6, and let's have a look then. You don't want to bin the car this late on into the race, and there was almost contact between Gonzalez and the core sim racing car. Let's have a look. It was close. He almost ran into the back. There. The core sim racing car holding its line, being defiant. We talked about this already. These GT drivers, we talked about it at the very top of the broadcast. They will sometimes be defiant, and there we can see another roof ahead now for Hawkers. Hawkers, they've got enough. They can slow it all the way down if they want to. They don't need to push the issue at this stage of the motor race. Here are your GT top 8. Commander, Dominant, once again. Then Moonshine, then 49 Motorsport, then Excelsior. They are your top 4. You can see the rest of your top 8 up on your screen. Grip TV Nation versus Gathering of Tweakers is interesting. You've got Matt Malone down in Bowles. They are battling for position number 23 machine. Grip TV 6.3 seconds actually behind 49 Motorsports B. Closing 2 seconds. 2 seconds lap slower, Rachel. So we are unlikely to see a battle there between these two. In fact, the race leader is coming up to get one of them in the latter stage of this event. But for some reason, Siri just turned on my iPad.
Well, tell Siri to turn your iPad back off again. That's the leader going past the Grip TV Nation car there, and coming up behind now the GTR's in purple car. Once they're up there, though, they'll be on the back end, actually, of Coanda. Your class leader in GT will go another lap down now. That'll make it 40 laps behind your prototype leader. Of course, they ahead of them have the car from, I believe that's the team Bushfink Racing. I love that livery. Beautiful colour combination. But great run from them, of course. They've actually managed to hold on. They're going to have a reasonably decent finish. Be a top 10 for those guys. But this field has really thinned out for some stupid reasons in the late end of this race, Will. We've had some silly mistakes and, well, some controversy. It's probably not going to settle down too quickly.
It's not, and we're having a look. The conversation on YouTube is an interesting one, I'm sure. It will be discussed many, many hours and days after this race has finished. And of course, the next time we run there for Bathurst, there's just one type of car. They are supercars.
Yeah, supercars.
Supercars.
Supercars. You gotta say car. Car.
We are going to ban you from doing any form of Australian accent.
Can't help it. It's Bathurst. It's the Bathurst 1000. I'm going to get drunk while I commentate it. Because it's the Australian
Ladies
way.
and gentlemen, please drink responsibly if you are ever
give it to me.
going to partake in any form of alcoholic-based events. Don't forget, iRacing requires you to drink responsibly. Phoenix Moonshine in P number 2 right now, with Antti Pajala behind the wheel of that one. You've got Ahmed Yaman 13.1 seconds back. Danny Biles versus Sam Doby. This one isn't actually over. This is Gathering of Tweakers versus CTC Racing Black. 2.8 seconds, Rachel. Bose has just had a really slow lap. 143.4 here. Pit stop, splash and dash. Sam Doby is 2.3 seconds, but we don't know lap time wise. This could go either way.
It could, and I'm expecting it to do just that. Don't think CTC Racing have the speed to get up there to the back of Gathering of Tweakers, but they'll be close. Group TV Nation as well, too far ahead of that group. They're on the run down to the chicane now. Gathering of Tweakers heading up to the double apex right-hander. CTC, well, they're close, but I'm not sure, Will. That's going to be a matter of about 4 seconds on the racetrack, I think. It's cutting it close.
Yeah. It's 1.8 seconds to gap as they work themselves down the back straight away. Although in a straight line, they are pretty much even. There'll be a little bit of a toe for Buzz in the Gathering of Tweakers car because of the fact there's a BMW just ahead. Gap 1.8 seconds as we come down into literally the 2-minute warning. 9 hours and 58 minutes is scored complete. There'll be no challenges in the final 2 minutes, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen. So from here on in, it is all pure racing. Gap 1.5 seconds, 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds between Gathering of Tweakers and TTC Racing. We're going to have 2 laps to do the difference maker. We want to see where Gonzalez is on track. So we're going to cut away for a moment. This is the chicane. We are going to be very close, actually. Keep an eye out on the lap time. Is it going to be 2 more laps? The answer, oh yes. We're going to get ourselves 2 more laps unless Gonzalez decides to slow down. No one's decided that they wanted to slow down at all here today. So I do fully expect there to be 2 more laps left of this race. Knowing Hawker's luck, something will happen. They'll run out of fuel on the final lap of the event. They just want to double check their dials, we probably think. You can see there you've got Roof just ahead. And an update on the Doby Barrel situation. The gap is down to 0.7 of a second. If anything happens, we'll make sure we get it on replay for the end of the event. You can see there, they're scrapping. It's half a second as they work themselves down in towards the chicane. I think it'll be a case of if Doby can find a way past, well, he will do just that. But let's go back then and have a look. Actually, no, we'll stick it for just one moment between Doby and Bars because they are literally nose to tail. Although it's going to be a big move in turn number 1 if Doby's going to find a way past.
Well,
as Gonzalez is working himself into the final corner, but 10 seconds on the play clock. Are we going to get the white flag this time by? The white flag is out One more lap to go. As yes, Rachel.
I was just going to comment on the fight between Grip TV and Gathering of Tweakers. They've poured the coal on now. This one is going to be a fight to the death.
Well, we've actually just been looking at it. So we're going to go back to look at it for the next 10 seconds as they come down into 7. Dobie in the CTC Racing black car. Not quite close enough. So it will happen potentially down into the chicane. There you can see Gonzalez. He's actually behind this lot, so we can show you a move down into the chicane. Of course, don't forget, these guys still have a lap and a half to go. There's still a little bit of racing for these guys to go, but it doesn't look as though Dobie can do anything in a straight line. The damage to that CTC Racing black car is potentially affecting them. You might have to be a big lunge into a braking zone if they're going to do anything. There's a bit of a draft this time by, though. Nothing into the braking zone. Can't do anything at all. So let's go back then and have a look. The checkered flag is out. Bose is out of fuel. Bose is out of fuel. But Gonzalez, let's go back to him. Up the hill he comes. Down the hill he comes. It will be FRT Hawkers who are going to win the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Hawkers, after leading 33 laps, are a winner in the iRacing.com Road Warrior Series. Bose, we just saw the Gathering of Tweakers car. He is out of fuel.
No,
he will have to do another lap.
No, he doesn't, because he swerved out of pit road at the last moment and crossed the line after the leader.
But he is out of fuel.
He went down a lap.
P9. Yeah, he'll be the first driver one lap down to the race leader from that point. So he'll be P9. He is, however, done. We look now for Martin Kroenke. Kroenke come past the start-finish line. Kroenke wins in GT. Antti Pajada coming home to claim second place in that class. Jan-Philipp Ried, well, there you can see him. He comes home number 2 in your prototype division. But your 2 winners, you've got yourself Francisco Gonzalez winning in LMP. The number 55 Hawkers Endurance team led a total of 34 laps, and they win in your Le Mans prototype division. And then Koana Sim Sports, Martin Kroenke bringing that car home, along with Jorn Jens, along with Klaus Kivikas and Rens Brokeman. The dynamic quartet, once again, absolutely dominant in GT. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Make these guys your favourites when we come down to the Blancpain Endurance Series next year. That one is going to be one to watch. Coanda may well become a factor in 2 world championships. But the moment, for the time being, belongs to this guy. It is the driver of Gonzalez. And he was able to bring that car home under immense pressure. Let's not forget, Gonzalez wins. There's no donuts. There's no burnouts. Just bringing it onto pit road and thinking, well, we've just got ourselves a victory. And that in itself, in a top split race, is incredible. Gonzalez then wins in the Le Mans prototype category, and what a deserved victory. They held off Jan-Philipp Ried and the simrace.de car towards the end. You can see the online.simracing.de LMP car of Ried second place. It was an incredible battle over the last hour, but Gonzalez was able to come up on top. Let's get a look then at your final race results from the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. FRT Hawkers are winners here today in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. OnlineSimRacing.de /LMP2 come home in second. Radicals Online, Paul Ilbrink in third. Then Speed Asylum Red in fourth. Pro Sim Racing FR-HPD #number 1 in fifth. Bloody Dutch in sixth. Autobahn Motorsports in seventh. GTRS Team Purple in 8th, TMA Endurance in 9th, and then 7-3 Motorsports HPD round out your top 10. There you can see the remainder of your prototype field, and you can see a total of 19 people took on the challenge of, well, 19 teams took on the challenge of Road Atlanta in that division. Not many of them were able to make it to the end of the event. There you can see Commander Simsport once again absolutely dominant in GT. 4 laps ahead of Phoenix Moonshine. They held off 49 Motorsports A in the final part of that for the last 2 hours, really. They'd been battling. Pretty much for the last 6 hours, they'd been close. Excelsior Racing Team come home P4 when all was said and done. They couldn't get a podium, but Kevin Binkley finished within a lap of those 2 drivers who rounded out your podium. Corson Racing in 5th, 49 Motorsports B in 6th, then Grip TV Nation in 7th. CTC Racing in the last 2 minutes, getting a position after gathering the tweakers, fell foul of the 1 extra lap there. They wanted just 1 more lap, but even if that would have been the case, they still would have run out in the final corner. P9 is all gathering the tweakers can manage. Team Bushfink Racing round out your top 10 in class. Well, there we can see then the rest of your GT results. 18 drivers started, 11 of them finished. We're going to get a chat now with drivers in our post-race coverage. Only one real place that we can start, and of course, that is with the team who claimed the victory over in the prototype division. We have to say an absolute congratulations then to the team of FRT Hawkers Endurance. Manu, congratulations. Arguably your team's biggest ever victory. Manu is so happy he doesn't actually want to talk to us. Hello, can you hear us?
Hi guys, yeah, I can hear us. We are in an amazing place. We are so happy. Our 3 drivers do a great job. Oh, we can't believe it.
Well, take us through the moment that you realised that there was a chance that the race was yours after the Autobahn team, who had led 279 laps, all of a sudden ended up on pit road.
Well, when we saw the Autobahn car in pit road still have 35 minutes and the online racing car is still 20 seconds, 18 seconds behind at this moment, and still a lot of work to do by Francisco Gonzalez, and it was hard. It was a very, very, very long half an hour, but finally we can do it.
How happy are you with this race win? How important is this race win for your team here today?
Oh, we have no words to describe it. It's without doubt the most important victory for our team, especially for the 3 drivers of the car. 2 of them come from another simulator, and they really enjoy this race without problems, doing all the 10 hours without, I think, 10 or 12 incidents. Oh, they do an amazing work.
You can only imagine. Congratulations on victory here in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Sorry?
Anyone who you'd like to say a thank you to at all before we let you go?
Oh, of course, the 3 drivers. The 3 drivers is the one who deserve all the congratulations here. And well, we can see exactly the same car, the same drivers in the Gathering of Tweakers Endurance Series the next week at Sebring.
Well, congratulations on your race victory. I'm going to get a quick word as well from Jorn Jens from Commander Simsport. Jorn, do we just need to make you the favourites as far as the GT World Championship Series go already, or are we thinking too far ahead of the game?
Yes, I think there's 1 race left now, but I think the other championship contenders, they were not in this race. They were focusing on the Blancpain race.
How was your race here today? Because, I mean, Le Mans, Petit Le Mans is always a tough event. I'm actually going through the results right now, and I always joke about the fact that you guys will probably end up with the least incidents. You had 11. which was, out of those who finished, once again, the least number of incidents. And I'm going to actually have a look for the drivers. And surprisingly enough, Klaus, 1 incident. Martin, no incident. In fact, the messy driver was you.
Oh.
6.
Yeah, that's too much. I think I should be removed.
Yeah.
Also, Jorn, we just wanted to pass it on officially as the representatives of iRacing.com that Commander will be forced to drive a bicycle around Bathurst in a week's time.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if we are going to do this race because we have some other racing duties next week. So this, I think we are not in this race, unfortunately.
Talk us through your race here today, though, because you've got the early lead. Then you've had yourself 5 different drivers here today. Each of them, doing some useful stints. I'm actually having a look at see how many laps you've each done, if I can, and it won't let me. But you've each done a nice share of the race overall. Of course, Martin doing what Martin does, closing out the race for you. Talk us through the race from your perspective, though.
Yeah, I think we all did a good job. I mean, it's always to watch the HPDs, what they have in traffic, and stay out of any trouble that appears around the track. And I mean, having 12 incidents at the end of the race shows that we made a good job doing that.
Well, I'm actually trying to figure out how many laps you've led here today. It won't give me the data, but I don't think you lost the lead of this race by anything more than maybe 3 laps at any point during the event.
Yeah, we were not leading in the beginning of the race, so and I must say I was not following the race the whole time. So, but I don't think we had more than about 20 laps not led.
Incredible stuff. Then, of course, it means that it's a double victory for you guys as well, getting a 1-2 earlier in the World Championship Grand Prix Series. Good day in the office for Coando, except for maybe Hugo.
Yes, I think Hugo was a bit under his expectations for the last race. I did not get the chance to look at the championship results actually, where he finished. Which position?
I don't even want to know. It depends. I know Hugo is in a bad mood, but potentially that could be the reason why. We'll have a look in just 1 second. Before we let you go, was there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh, yeah, sure. I want to thank everyone who was helping us today in the race, especially Martin helping out in the DT, which he usually does not drive for us. So we could actually do the double duty with the Road Warrior, Petit Le Mans, and the Blancpain race. And also want to say good job to Mitchell that he managed to get another victory for us in the IWC GPS. Very impressive stuff.
To give you an update, by the way, Hugo Luis came 4th, 415 points. Mitchell de Jong came 5th with 410. So there we are. You on the end.
Oh, congratulations to Hugo for that one.
Yeah, coming home P4. Well, he thought he was going to lose it, but he managed to keep on in the end. You're on the end for Commander Sim Sports, doing a double, winning in both the World Championship Grand Prix Series here today, and also in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Well, Rachel, it's time to ask a question. Are you radical enough? And that means, of course, we've got to talk to Paul Ilbrink.
It does indeed. Well, we've got Paul Ilbrink here from the Radicals Online. Well, after that early incident, Paul, we thought the Radicals were down and out. You guys got up, you pushed your way back, suddenly you were 5th. Suddenly you were looking at a top 5 recovery drive, then a top 4 fell into your lap, and suddenly the Radicals were on the podium. What does this mean to you guys?
It means a lot. We just got another reasonable good result in this series, so we're very happy with that, as it looked pretty awful at the beginning after the big crash with the long repairs. But yeah, I'm just happy with the team and how we did, and just stuck with it and hang in there and finish on the podium, so that's a nice reward.
You guys had a brilliant result, and of course, Radicals, if hadn't had problems, were looking like a fairly dominant car. Are you guys expecting to bring anything to Bathurst next week?
I'm not sure, actually. I haven't heard anyone on it about it, but I think our attention is going to Neo that's starting next week as well, and maybe we have some people participating at the Bathurst, but I'm not sure if we will.
Well, of course, Neo Enduro Series can be found here on RaceSpot TV, so look forward to that one live here. Well, Paul, you and the Radicals Online, anybody you'd like to thank? You came home today in P3?
All the people that drove today and helped with preparation, and of course our sponsor SteelSeries Simulache, and you guys for doing an awesome broadcast again.
Oh, awesome, and thank you very much for showing up, Paul, and congratulations to you and the team. That was Team Radicals Online. They came home in P number 3 today in the prototype class. Well, we've got Darwin here from Speed Asylum. Those guys came home in prototype class P number 4 today. And we also have Evan Mirrell from Red Devolution Racing, who had been running second in the GT class until a series of late race spins ended up placing them in a spot of controversy. We'll come to you first, Darwin. Great result for the prototype field. Didn't think you had much most of the race, and then suddenly you managed to get a good result at the end.
You know, we were really the lowest split car here, so I'm just proud of us. We started second from last. We didn't qualify. We came up to fourth from 18th. So I just need to thank all the guys. I need to thank the Pike brothers, Marty, Gio, Karen, Andy, Aiden, Justin, Ryan, Ian, Kevin, Ian, Andrew, Andy, and Simon. Thanks for having us. This was a lot of fun.
It's awesome to have you. Anybody you'd like to thank? Any sponsors?
You know, Speed Asylum was formed this last year. We just, a few of us have been racing for 10 years together. We came out of CRO, and we just got to thank everybody back at the shop. Mainly Kevin, Andy, and Gio. It was we came over here, started this thing, and now we're just happy to be in the top split.
Well, an awesome drive today, and hopefully see a lot of the races in the future. That was, of course, Speed Asylum. They came home today in P number 4 in the prototype field. Now we're going to move on to Evan Merrill. Evan, I see somebody who was connected to the server has left and seems to be declining an interview. Can I assume you've been having words with a certain team?
Yeah, we've been chatting a bit. I was hoping it wouldn't get as ugly as it has, but I don't know what to say anymore. You know, I was just out my race and came up into turn 3. I lifted early, braked early. I was all the way on the inside, and contact was made.
Obviously, in the slower class car, you have a more difficult time evading prototypes, of course, and the difference is much more drastic. Your car was also fairly damaged. Was the car suitable to be on track?
Yeah, the car actually felt great at that point. It was a little bit down on top end speed, but it was handling perfectly fine. The damage had nothing to do with that incident. Let me stress that. I just don't get, you know, what the point was. Their team, the HPD, was 3 laps ahead. You know, there's basically, as long as they finish the race out, there's no chance of anyone catching them. You might as well play it nice and conservative instead of passing up through turn 3, or turn 2, whatever it is, which is probably one of the tightest corners on the track. There's just no cars.
An unfortunate end to the race. The 2 teams, of course, Red Devolution having their own problems through this race on its own, but at least Red Devolution did, in fact, finish the race.
We did.
Anybody you'd like to thank? Any sponsors?
I'd just love to say hi to my whole team and thanks to all you guys. We almost did a great job. A couple ups, but overall, everyone did a nice job and fun race. Thanks RaceSpot for the broadcast. It's been excellent. Been watching all day.
Thank you for racing, and thank you for your side of the late race incident between yourself and, of course, the number 902 car.
Sorry to see it happen in 8 case. My fault or not.
Absolutely. That was Evan Merrill from Red Devolution Racing in the number 2 GT car. Well, it's been a race full of controversy, a race full of disaster, calamity, and elation.
And fun.
Some teams that thought they were going to do well didn't. Some cars and drivers that thought they were going to do poorly did very well. It's been a complete mixed bag, and what a race to have on the 92nd birthday of Murray Walker.
Indeed so. Happy birthday, Murray. In fact, he's got a star on the Birmingham Walker Stars that I walk past on the way to work every single morning. So, Murray, met you, 1999, 2000 I met him actually at Goodwood. And we're going to say quick thank yous. First of all, to the sexiest Australian in the universe, Mr. Johnny Simone. He's just literally woken up and thought,
yeah,
what's
he's
going
not
on?
even here.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on? There we are. Johnny, you're alright?
I haven't slept actually. I just got back home and I had a few commitments I had to attend to this morning, but I'm running off adrenaline. I think that racing, the Petit Le Mans really got me on the edge of my seat, so I can't go to sleep.
Oh.
Well, it all changed whilst you were out, of course, and well, the biggest shock was the loss of Autobahn Racing in a late race incident, but well, you were here for the good bits, you missed a couple, but all in all, what an incredible race, Will.
Indeed so. And don't forget, next week, we
Right,
go... Don't you dare. Next week, we go to the mountain. We will go for the iRacing.com Bathurst 1000. That will be here, live on RaceBot TV and on iRacing Live. Don't forget, also, next week, it's back. The greatest racing series league in all of racing. It's the Neo Endurance Series. It is next Sunday they kick off. It will be at Sebring. It will be here on RaceBot TV and on iRacing Live. If you think like league racing is good, wait until you've seen the Neo Endurance Series. One of the best managed run series in all of sim racing. So good, in fact, that we even got them out to go and see what the real world people do. And we even picked up a couple of tips from Neil Heckins. We'll talk more about that one next week. And of course, also, we've got ourselves the Gathering of Tweakers Endurance Series. That is also next Saturday as we do double duty once again here on iRacing Live. But that concludes all we have time for here today from the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans from Road Atlanta. What a great day it's been of racing once again here on iRacing Live. The final round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, and also this, the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. Myself, Will Vincent, from Rachel Whiteford, from Johnny Simone, from Daniel Bannerfield. This has been iRacing Live on another Super Saturday, and we will talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.